2. Did you see the Vice News like docu episode about the FGC?
No.
Yeah, it came out like I think two
I saw
weeks
some other
ago.
big fighting game news that I wanted to bring up.
Well, this
But
Vice thing came out like 2 weeks ago. And I remember seeing it when they put it on YouTube. I just didn't watch it till today. Um,
was it
because
like one of their mini documentaries?
like 28 minutes or something like
Okay.
that. And the guy interviews Valle. He's in it, and he
Okay.
interviews some of these other
Was it
female
about the Mr.
players.
Wizard stuff with Evo?
They mentioned that, but was what? So the first part was talking about like the creation of like the FGC, kind of, like in the small communities,
Right.
and how it was formed and why people like kind of went to these arcades or whatever. And then the back half was all about inclusivity and
Hmm.
um like women and stuff like that in the FGC and toxicity and stuff like that.
Yeah, 2020 was a weird year for that because you've had the Mr. Wizard stuff with like him doing the I can't remember specifically what I was. I think he was like sexually harassing girls or something like that.
I see.
And
I
then
I, I heard zero. I'm so out of touch with the FGC because I don't
it was
watch.
something like that. It was like the Evo announcement for the games happened, and then it was like COVID shut everything down, and then I think it was like
And they canceled it, right?
I want to say it was like May or something. Well, yeah, they canceled Evo even before this, where it was like they basically said it was going to be like an online only
Yeah.
Evo. I think that was in like April.
They
That
said
because that was when
June.
everybody was hyped. That was like when Willie and them were hyped because basically the online Evo was only going to be games with rollback netcode, so it was only
Yeah.
going to be like Mortal Kombat, which wasn't originally in the lineup. It was like Fighting Herds. It was KI, which also wasn't which hasn't been in the lineup for Evo for a couple years, and then a couple of the other like smaller games that had rollback netcode
Well, this
were really
this
the only ones
this
that were going to
doc,
be
they
doing
kept
it.
they kept pulling up like on the cutting to like articles from like Kotaku or something
Hmm.
about this Evo thing. And it was like in July or June or something when the
Yeah, it
like
was sometime
it's
around then because
canceled.
it was like online Evo was announced, and then it was like a couple of months after that was all the stuff that came out about Mr. Wizard that he was like, I think it was that he was like sexually harassing girls, or it was like, or maybe it was that he was like talking to girls that were like underage, maybe or something like that. It had something to do with like him basically
Is he
doing
like
stuff
the
with like girls that like he shouldn't have been doing.
who's like the tall the bigger brown Asian guy?
The only person I could probably think that you're thinking of is I think Jabali, who runs CEO.
No, he runs Evo. What's
Hmm. I don't
Well, I'm
know.
pretty sure. What is this guy name again?
Which one?
The
Mr.
guy
Wizard?
who's in trouble. Yeah.
He's it's definitely not him because he's like a bigger I think he looks like kind of like he's a white guy, I think. Um but he's definitely not
Maybe
the
this
tall
is the guy I'm
black guy.
thinking about. Maybe.
The only people I know really who are
No,
like
this ain't him. No,
I don't know.
no, this ain't the guy I'm thinking about.
But
Maybe I'm thinking of someone. Maybe he's not attached to Evo at all. Actually, the guy I'm thinking about.
the only guy I can think of who kind of matches that description is Jabali. But then now I think about it, I don't think Jabali's black. I think he's like Latino, but he's based around here in Florida. I think he's in like the Tampa area or whatever because he runs CEO, which is based out of Full Sail. So
I don't know. Never mind. I'm thinking of someone else. I guess I don't know who I'm thinking about. I thought he ran Evo, but I could be completely wrong. Or was
yeah,
part of the Evo founders. I don't know who I'm thinking about.
but yeah. So then the Mr. Wizard stuff came out, and then they basically just canceled the entire Evo tournament like altogether. Like they didn't even do the online one or anything like that. So it was like, yeah, I don't know. So that was the weird stuff. And then I don't know. I didn't follow like all the FGC news, but I'm still in the FGC group on Facebook that I've been in for a couple of years now. And I remember there was one time it was like I can't remember. I think it was a Tekken player,
Uh huh.
maybe. She was like a younger black Tekken player or something like that, or somebody in the FGC. I can't remember exactly what she was, but I think it was. This was when they were trying to get Chris G canceled because I guess I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think he like basically like mouthed off and like talked trash to her and said something about had something to do with her being a girl and like not being good at games or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was like a whole thing that came out. I think there also might have been some like slight racial thing to that too. I can't exactly remember because that one was a long time ago too. It
Yeah,
was
this
like
this
so after
Vice
the
thing
Wizard
had
stuff.
her name. She was a Tekken player. Her name was like Cuddle something.
That's her. That's the
She
one.
yeah,
Yeah,
she was
that's
in
the one.
this episode, this Vice thing, and she was talking about something like that.
Yeah.
She did. I don't think she said Chris G's name, but it was
I don't.
something about
Chris G
that.
might have been a different thing, but I definitely remember the thing with her and her whole
Yeah,
situation.
she
That blew.
plays like she played the Chainsaw Girl.
Yeah, which is like
Um,
first of all, like character choice. That is like one of the most annoying characters to fucking play. So like the fact that she has this whole annoying situation wrapped around her makes perfect fucking sense because she picks an annoying ass character.
yeah, and it is a fine little episode of. I was expecting more about the history of like Evo or history about FGC, but
Yeah, I
then
figured
again,
with the
I
Vice, I
realized
figured they'd
that
make it more
I should have realized that it was
political stuff.
Vice, so Vice would have focused on that anyways. I should have like I don't know why I thought that it was gonna be a.
Well, honestly, with,
Um,
as far as like the FGC stuff, I feel like they should be focusing more on like if they want to talk about inclusion, they should talk more about like I mean specifically in the Tekken scene. I know that there's a lot of um, like I recently started following one on YouTube that there's like been a lot of like good female Tekken players that have been like coming up in the scene in like the past couple of years. So maybe like instead of focusing on like dumbass drama filled shit like that, maybe we should focus on like
it's so weird to
the
me
the
too because like
rising like female stars in the scene.
I obviously I'm not a lady, but it was so weird to me to hear that perspective on this Vice thing because to me the FGC has always been super duper minority focused. You know, like all the players that I like grew up really wanting to like play like were like
Hmm.
Valle or Justin Wong or Daigo or
Mike Ross,
Infiltrator or Mike Ross. Like these even obviously he's canceled now, but
Gutex.
Gutex. Like
Yeah.
these guys are not. None of these guys are white dudes. You know, I mean, like very little
No, I
white
mean
dudes I cared
it's
about.
honestly really only been like super recently that like a lot of like and not even like that many. Like the ones that I can think of are like
Joe.
Chris Tatarian, but like I think he's also like I mean he's from California, so I think he's also like Latino. I don't know if he's like straight up white, but like Alex Myers is like probably one of the better white
But
guys.
even just growing up in like in high school watching like
Yeah.
old cross counter on Machinima,
I mean,
it
the ones
was
that I
all the
always think of are
guests.
like minorities. I mean, yeah, it's like Mike Ross, Gukex, Yipes, Tasty Steve, Sajam's probably one of the bigger white guys. Is
Well, just like even again like in 2007,
Yeah.
when Vanilla SF4 comes out or 2008, whenever that game comes out, and I'm on YouTube and looking at people play that version of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Even the guys who are my age or younger than me, who are completely way better than me, and there was never as good as like Jace the Ace or these guys who are also
Yeah.
Asian dudes, and even going to cons, where you and I have sat at cabinets and played, and like those
Mm-hmm.
rooms are so full of different colors of people,
Oh yeah.
and it was never
Well,
like
I
I had
think
a
that's the thing that's like, yeah, I think as far as like things that need to be more like, I guess the thing with FGC diversity probably wouldn't be race, but more like gender, because I feel like it's always
yeah.
been a more male
Oh,
dominated
for sure,
scene.
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, as far as race, like it's always been like super diverse.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was definitely something that I thought that again I can't speak for the gender stuff because I can't
Yeah.
I don't know, but in terms of the racial stuff, it was always like I had more in common talking to dudes who were different colors than me about Street Fighter than I did about
I remember one of
something
my first
else.
experiences at the con was a guy who was a black guy who sat across the arcade cabinet from me and fucking kicked my ass with Yun in Third Strike
Yeah,
repeatedly.
yeah. Well, that's
So
because it's Young and Third Striker.
yeah, Yun in Third Strike. But
But
yeah,
I
no, I
wanted to
hadn't
bring
heard
that
about that.
up because I watched it and it was interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't love it. It was well shot, well edited, and everything like that. It was well made. I just
I mean, it's a
thought
Vice
that,
thing. They've got pretty
yeah,
good production design
I
behind
thought
their
that it
stuff.
would have been a better. I think I'm sure it's a very important part of the story to tell, but at the same time, I think the FGC has so much more good to it than bad.
Yeah,
And to me, it kind of like it should be the story should be told. Obviously, I'm glad it's there, but at the same time, I'm kind of like there's so much to the FGC that we don't know about and don't hear about that you have to go on those.
Honestly, I'm surprised that like Sonic Fox wasn't in that. If they were talking about kind of,
They mentioned him, but he's not in it
I'm
now.
surprised they didn't actually interview him because I feel like of all the people, especially when it comes to like that kind of stuff, like I remember because I mean he's the one he won the esports award whatever like a year or two ago, and then he like popped off about all that dumbass shit that like had nothing to do with him and like made no fucking sense. That he was like basically talking about how he was like I don't know. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I was like, dude, you're like the number one fighting player in the world, and you like won multiple tournaments multiple
Yeah,
times. Like, cry me a fucking river, dude. Like,
yeah.
you're one of the best in the fucking game right now.
I
Like, why
honestly
are you
like
complaining about this shit?
it's one of those if you want to call it sports or not, I don't really care, but
Yeah,
one of those competitive games where I'm surprised if a white person does win.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when I look at the Evo roster every year, I'm like, hey, who? I think the only game I think that a white person would win is like Smash.
I think that's yeah. It's like the one where
But
they.
like,
I would say Smash and like Mortal Kombat probably are like the two games where it's like
but
where
even
people
and
like
even
have a chance.
MK, like okay, you get a lot of black dudes like Perfect Legend, or these
Yeah,
Hispanic guys play MK, you know.
you get a
But
lot of light guys in Mortal Kombat too, though.
then
As far as like
when it
in the
comes to
like upper
the
echelons, because I mean, I'm thinking more so like when I've seen like top eights and stuff like that. I mean, as far as like Mortal Kombat, you've got like I mean, Honeybee's like a big one as far as like NRS games. Um, but I mean, it's like when you look at top eights for like Street Fighter or Tekken, whatever, it's like it's mostly like three quarters like Asian people,
mm-hmm.
and then like maybe like one guy from Europe or two guys from Europe, and then like two guys from the States. But even that's been changing, especially with like Tekken. It was like Tekken's been getting really big with like they've been having more like Middle Eastern people like going out to
Yeah,
tournaments and stuff like that, and
yep.
like yeah, a lot more of like
Well,
the Arab.
wasn't the Evo guy, Evo winner last year Middle Eastern guy
I
for
think so.
Tekken?
Yeah, I think it was. And the year before that, it was Lil Majin, who's a black guy who plays King, and he's like one of the most godlike King players I've ever seen.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. I'm more surprised when I see a white dude win like Street
yeah.
Fighter. You know, and like a couple years back when like Joe was like in top 8 at Evo, I was like, geez,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
okay, that's like the first
Is he
time
white? Isn't he like? I thought he was like
like
Latino.
Italian or something, right? Long
Oh,
Island
okay.
Joe.
He's
Yeah,
Latino.
dude's
Okay,
the
he's
dude's
white.
Italian as fuck or whatever
Yeah,
he is. I'm sure if you looked up his last name, it's super Italian. But
probably. Yeah.
it just like it was again a good documentary. But
Yeah.
the things I think that like there's so much of all the gaming communities out there. Like it's to me, it's the Call of Duties and stuff like that are super toxic and shit.
That's super. Well, that's also super white male
But I'm saying
dominant
but
field.
not even that. But I'm talking about like it's super toxic, but it's all on the internet. Whereas
Hmm.
like FGC, like it's toxic, but it's all in person.
Yeah, for the most
You
part.
know, like
Yeah.
you're growing these guys, these old dudes are playing in arcades, so they're talking shit to your face, and like, then it's like,
I think that's probably one of the biggest changes is especially because I've seen a lot of the stuff. I mean, especially specifically with like, I mean, the initial thing probably happened with in person, but like the whatever Cuddle Storm or whatever her name was, like
cuddle
all
something,
that
yeah,
shit popped off on like Twitter, and so like the the big push of like social media has like made a lot of more of this stuff like less like face to face,
yeah.
like you're like actually saying the stuff to like whoever you're talking trash to. Now it's a lot more like it's getting more into that like weird nebulous
I always thought too,
internet.
like it was. I never cared about. Again, just speaking from personal, but like
Hmm.
I didn't. I never gave a shit about like when I saw like a chick playing and they were fucking good. I never
No, I
cared.
think it's rad.
You know, I think to me, I thought that the biggest example of the FGC that was if they were going to be like super hateful or spiteful is like when Ricky, you
Yeah,
know, when
but
whatever,
everybody loves Ricky, man.
yeah, because she's fucking good.
Yeah,
You know, like,
she's
it was
she's
never
a top
like
tier player.
oh, it's like you can talk shit all you want about this, but when you grab the sticks, she's gonna kick your ass. So it's like not like
Yeah,
it was never an issue to me, because either way, like you play even like playing like Halo, these old like I remember playing like Halo 3
hmm
or Halo 2, and you would come across like clan games like in the middle of matchmaking. It's a bunch of Did you ever hear about like the PMS clan?
that sounds familiar, but I
Yeah, they
can't
were like a big
bring it up.
all female like gaming, like before gaming teams had a gaming team, and
Yeah.
they would go play like Halo 2s and other FPS games or whatever, and like you can like join the forums or whatever, but then you would come across matchmaking games of full of people who are PMS clan, and if they were real or not, I have no idea. If they were actually on a team, or who knows, or something like CS:GO or something like that.
Right.
And like sometimes we would be fine because we're just a ragtag group of dudes who get together in matchmaking, or
Yeah.
the skill set of our team is very like different,
Mm-hmm.
or they would stomp the shit out of us. It's like I don't care because you're a quasi pro player, so why
Yeah.
would I care? This is your job, or at least you want it to be your job.
Yeah.
Me playing Call of Duty 4 is a fucking after school activity. You know what I mean?
I still
So
got homework to catch up on.
yeah, I got
So
homework, dude. I don't give a shit. I'm too busy fucking. This is procrastination for me.
yeah,
You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
I'm just trying to get my red camo for my MP5, and you're out here trying to fucking win. You care about
Look, man, I'm
KD.
just trying to get to that first prestige, and then I can just call it a day.
Yeah.
So I ain't
You
trying.
you
I ain't
care
even here.
about KD. I don't give a shit about KD.
No.
I don't give a fuck. But hey, this is License to View.
Yes.
It's Friday night. Zach, what have you been up to, man?
Oh, it's been it's been. I guess it has been a busy week. I just haven't done much because one of the things I guess I just read manga slower because it just took a little bit longer than I thought it would.
Yeah.
But I did finish 20th Century Boys and the
Mhm.
companion 21st Century Boys.
Right.
Um, I don't like 21st Century Boys that much. Um, I read it and I was like, I wish this would have just ended with like 20th Century Boys.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's like a
You,
fine ending to it. And
are you gonna watch the movie now?
oh yeah, I heard that there's like a live
Live
action.
action, yeah.
Is it multiple movies?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I feel like it's got to be. It's too much to put in one movie.
Yeah, maybe it's 3. I don't
I mean,
remember.
it would make a. I mean, the way it's structured would be a perfect like three a trilogy of movies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got a very distinct like this is what's in the first movie, this was in the second, this was in the third. So, but I like it a lot. It got me emotionally.
Yeah.
He is really good at creating characters and getting you invested in them, and I was just goddamn reading it is like the level of like foreshadowing and shit that he's like able to put in this is like I think I talked about this last week, but like clearly he has a plan, but it's like just like rereading the first chapter again, it's just like all these like one-off things that he gave like 2 or 3 pages to, or like shit that like doesn't even like make sense or get paid off until like it was like I think the first like 2 pages is Kana waking up and seeing a giant robot, and that shit doesn't get paid off until like the last like volume of the entire series.
Yeah.
So it's like just that level of like foresight and planning that he like puts into it, and it's like crazy, and it's like I don't know. I really enjoyed the world. I like the story a lot. That like it's got that good mix of like murder mystery and mixed in with like the cult shit, which is like big for us because we're Last Podcast fans. We're into that all that kind of stuff, and then he's got that weird like pseudo supernatural type of thing where it's
Yeah.
like, is it fake or is it real? And then it's kind of like, oh, it's fake, and then he does the double switch where he's like, oh no, it's real. So there's that weird kind of bit to it. That fucking bitch didn't die though. God damn it, I wanted her to die so bad. She's the head of like the friend land and friend world thing. And it's like the one guy's like wife, and she's like has friend's baby, and it, like get to 21st Century Boys, and I'm like, how did you survive? Of all people, how are you not fucking dead? The most annoying bitch.
So what are you reading next?
I did start a new because I don't think I think I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but I did buy a Shonen Jump subscription. So I started reading a few things in Shonen Jump, not like deep dives into anything, but I read a couple of chapters of their newer series that I think I'm going to pick up. The one today was Witch Watch, which is like it's a witch who's really bad at being a witch, and then she's her childhood friend who is an ogre, who basically becomes her like familiar bodyguard, and it's kind of like that rom-com comedy fantasy thing, with the slight spoiler for the first chapter, which is you end up figuring out that her mom had a prediction that she's gonna die in some way, and so he's like trying to stop her from dying. So I like that aspect to it. And the person who created this series is the same author who wrote one of my favorite series of like last year, like altogether, which was Astra Lost in Space, which was like I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast, but it's one of my favorite anime of 2020, which is it's really great sci-fi series of these kids who get like basically sent into a wormhole to like the other side of like the universe, and it's all about them like trying to travel back. And there's an overarching plot, but a lot of it feels like mini Star Trek episodes where they're like going to a planet and like trying to survive. It's got that space survival aspect to it, but this is a follow-up series to that, and I'm enjoying it so far. I'm really excited to like read more of it.
Cool.
Not too many other things of note that I read besides that one,
I noticed that that doesn't involve Space Brothers.
it doesn't involve Space Brothers. I didn't. I just completed a 260 chapter series. I got to take a little bit of a break before I dive into another one that is still ongoing at over 350 chapters.
Yeah, but you have to understand how much better Space Brothers is going to be.
I know it is because it's got the shit that I love, which is space shit, and it's like
not
realistic space
it's
shit.
not fake. It's not shonen. It's like it's heartwarming and emotional and realistic and like
I know. I just gotta take a little bit of a break before I just like dive into like another long series like that.
you don't have to read the whole thing at once. You can read the first arc.
Yeah, but me personally, like knowing who I am as a consumer, is if I don't like, if I start it and I don't finish it, it's gonna be a long time before I pick it back up.
Well,
Notice how we haven't talked about Dresden in a long time because I haven't picked up a book in like a couple of months.
Well, it's fine because at least the Dresden book won't go. It's gonna come out once a year, so you have time to catch up. Every month you wait, Space Brothers gets closer and closer to being done, and like, well, it's cool that.
Has he said that it's gonna like end?
I don't think he said anything. There's people on the Reddit forum page think that he might be in the last like part of the series right now, but there's just too many. There's too much left open for him to finish it now. There's like way too much shit that he hasn't tied up yet. That if he ended it now, or if it got canceled, which it hasn't, if it finished like next month, people would be like, "There's too much left over."
Yeah.
Even if they finish doing the main character's story right now, or what he's doing right now, if they finish that, there are still like arcs left that he's opened up the can of worms from like years ago. So there theoretically should be a ton of shit left. Now if that happens, who knows? He might just do a fucking like flash forward and just call it a day. I don't know. I think that'd be really bad though.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's worth reading though.
Yeah, I know. I'm interested in reading it. I just gotta take a little bit of a break, just to flesh out my palate a little bit before I just like head dive into another long series like that. But it's like the same thing. It was like, because I've tried to read Berserk like multiple times, and I always get like 200 chapters into it, and then it's just like, fuck, dude. Like I gotta like do something else. Like, first of all, Berserk's way too depressing to like just like binge through it like that. It gives me like bad vibes to just like.
I'm the opposite, dude. I'm the opposite. I
mean, I enjoy reading it,
just
but
binge
it's so
read that shit.
Depressing.
It is, but that's why I binge it.
Fair enough.
Like, if I can just get through the sadness now.
But it's not over. But that's the thing, is that there's still sadness going on, and it's not over.
Yeah, but the thing with Berserk, it's like, even Berserk, there's no way he can win now.
Right.
There's still no way that Guts can win.
Right.
Like, no matter, even with the armor and all this kind of shit, like, there's no way. I mean, I haven't read the last 5 chapters of the last 5 years, or however many much he's put out in the last decade.
It's probably like 5 chapters in 5 years. That sounds right.
But like, there's the last I read, no matter how great the art is, he's still like no way he could fight the God Hand by himself.
Is he still fighting the God Hand? The last thing I saw, I didn't read it this far, but I thought Griffith was a human again.
Yeah, he's playing some bullshit. He got off the boat. They're on like the Elf Island, I thought.
I know that in the latest chapter he left Elf Island because everybody in my anime group
Okay.
was in manga group was like freaking out because they're like, we're finally done
Yeah, it
with
took
this
years.
fucking Elf Island, this fairy island bullshit.
I feel like that took 10 years.
I think it did. I think Wooly was talking
I
about.
swear, like, I remember
I know
being like,
Wooly talked about it on the podcast where it was like this took like 10 years to get off this
I
goddamn.
literally think that they got there when I was in high school, a senior in high school, and then like a decade later, now he's leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done with that shit. I'm not gonna read that ever again.
uh,
I
yeah.
will read that when it's done.
Yeah. That's the way I feel about it. But
Like
I don't
people
know.
like that's why I have no
I've tried and
problem.
started it too many times where it's just like I don't know. I just feel like I'm just gonna wait till it's done.
Well, that's why I had no problem selling my hardcovers that I bought.
Oh, the
So
deluxe
I
editions.
bought
I think.
the first three hardcovers.
I think there's like 8 out
I
now.
had no problem selling them because I was like, I'm not even not even fucking close.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna buy these for the next 30 years. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You know, because it's been going on for 30 years. Think about that.
Has it been going on that long?
It
Good
started
lord.
it started in the fucking at least 1990, right? 1991.
I think he was the one also that was like he came out with like a second manga
Yeah.
as he was doing Berserk, and
Night
everybody was like, "What are you
the
doing? Finish
first
Berserk."
the first chapter came out in 1989. So it's
Good
over
lord.
31 years old.
Good lord.
You know, 31 years old or whatever.
Jesus.
No. No, I'm okay.
That's so long. I mean, One Piece has been going on not that long.
Yep, One Piece is consistent.
But yeah, that's the thing is yeah, One Piece is consistently like how does he
Putting
do every
chapters
week?
out. What?
Does he do a chapter a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous.
He's leading the pack, dude.
Yeah, I can't believe he is still doing a
That's why
chapter a week.
when other mangaka in Shonen Jump don't do weekly, I'm like, dude, you're getting beat by Oda.
Yeah.
He's been doing a weekly chapter since
Well,
fucking
it was
like
like I remember hearing
'96.
about the thing about Kishimoto. It was like he got married, and it was like it took him 3 years to have his honeymoon because he's like, I'm not doing this till Naruto's done. It took him like 3.5 years to finally finish
I
Naruto.
get it, man.
Yeah,
I get it.
it's a lot to be a mangaka, especially a Shonen Jump mangaka where you're constantly doing like every week.
Well, it's hard to be the top dogs. You know,
Yeah,
if you want to be successful,
yeah.
those guys are working hard.
I don't know, because then it's like I don't know if you watch his stuff, but Super Eye Patch Wolf came out with his Shonen Jump
Hmm.
year review or whatever. And it's like, two like their biggest series that aren't in the magazine are Kaiju number 8 and
Yeah.
Spy Family, which are both series that I love. I haven't caught up on either of them in about a month or maybe 2 months. So I think I'm probably like I know I'm way behind on Kaiju, but I think I'm only like 5 or 6 chapters behind on Spy Family because they don't come out every week. They come out I think Spy Family comes out like every other week or something like that, and then but they also like they're not under the pressure of the magazine, so there's a lot of times where they'll be like, all right, we're taking like a break off for this chapter, and they like give an illustration or whatever, and they're like,
Hmm.
next week they'll like or whatever, however long they say their break is going to be, they're like, all right, here's the new chapter, and those are selling in the top. I can't remember exactly what they were. I'm pretty sure they're in the top 10. But they're not in the magazine. They're just online.
I mean, because there's a
But
huge market outside of Japan.
yeah, that
You
too.
know, if we sold the monthly every single Marvel comic book outside of the country, also in like Asia and like mainland Europe, and made it easy,
Hmm.
of course they would also sell at other places. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But like, if you want to be the Naruto, the One Piece, the Bleach before I got shit,
the Demon Slayer.
you gotta be. You and your five assistants are fucking busting your ass. Did you
Yeah.
ever see the video on YouTube? It was a documentary, like a 30-minute documentary,
Hmm.
um, of the creator of Shaman King.
No, I
It
didn't.
came out like 3 years ago. Some guy filmed it, like some Japanese dude filmed it, and it's
Hmm.
really well made. But he talks about like the creation of Shaman King and kind of like how he felt when he was writing it, and how he when he had to cancel it, how he had to finish the story and stuff like that. And they're at his studio at somewhere like in a smaller district of Tokyo or something like that. I can't remember exactly.
Hmm.
But he's walking through his studio and it is fucking nice. Like it's a nice ass studio and it's full like fucking. He's a DeLorean in it. Like I'm pretty sure he's
Oh,
a
damn. All
DeLorean.
right.
I'm pretty sure. I could be making that up, but I'm pretty sure there's a DeLorean in it.
It's much better than I saw another video where it was I can't remember exactly who did it, but it was basically like a guy in Japan who was interviewing a mangaka, and it was the guy who did Rent a Girlfriend, and he like went to his studio, and it's like in the basement of his
Yeah,
house.
you're talking about the fucking Filipino guy,
Is he Filipino?
the interviewer, the Filipino dude,
Oh, maybe he is.
the dark skinned dude.
Yeah, I haven't watched this video in a long
Okay,
time,
he's a
but I think it
Filipino.
is.
He's a Filipino guy who's in Japan. He's from California. Yeah, he's like
Uh,
day in the life of a mangaka.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so it was like yeah, and his studio's like in his basement, and it's like
Again, because that dude was trying to make it. You know, he's doing
yeah,
success, and he's successful. But the guy who created Shaman King, that shit was popular as fuck. Right? She
yeah.
has this whole studio full of all these like action figures and toys and things like that, things to inspire him. And then he has a full table of like 5 Cintiq art tablets, right, for his
It's drawing.
interns or whoever, his
Okay.
aides. And Cintiqs are expensive; they're like $3,000 each.
Hmm.
He has like 3 or 4 of them sitting there for his people. And he goes, "Yeah, you know, since you can draw digital now, all my aides they work from home." So it's him in
Oh,
this huge ass room, him in this huge office by himself, and he bought this stuff for his people. And
and they don't use
and
it.
they don't use it because they work from home because it's easier. They roll out of bed and just start drawing on files.
Huh.
Um, and I was like, man, he was like kind of depressed in it. I was like, man, I'm so mad they fucking canceled the book and he didn't finish the way he wanted to finish it. And
Yeah.
thankfully, there's a sequel series he's been working on, so that there's that. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh man, I came back to the video right after they announced the new anime, and
Hmm.
people were like, it's coming back, baby. You know, like
Baby.
so I'm like, okay, hopefully he can get some more cash money.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Because if you watch the video, he's like super emotional, and like not in a bad way. He's just like super introspective about Shaman King and what it meant to him.
Hmm.
And I was like, and he's like, yeah, when people started not liking it, I was like, oh, it's fucking great. It's a great series.
Yeah,
People forget about it. When the shit comes back out in April, people are gonna pretend like they
that they were
fucking liked
fans from the
it
beginning.
fucking in
Yeah.
2000. But guess what? I fucking was.
WB Kids, man.
I'm saying, man, Foxbox.
Fox Box.
Foxbox. I could sing that theme song right now. Shit's so fucking good. The dub,
Yeah.
the 4 Kids dub.
Mm.
And if they redo the whole thing, if they're, I don't know what they're doing yet. If they start from the beginning,
I think they're redoing the whole thing.
bro, we're gonna get to see Rio again, and we're gonna get to fucking see the Faust fight again, and we're gonna, oh my god.
I'll be honest with you, dude. I
I know,
didn't.
I know,
I didn't. I didn't get to watch Shaman King.
I know. It's fine,
I know.
but you can now.
I know. I'm going to now. I've always wanted to watch it, but I think I never had, or I never knew. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I really didn't. I don't. I think it was I didn't have access to 4 Kids really, because there was a time where it was like I could watch One Piece for a little bit, and then I think whatever cable program channel we had, like we lost the 4 Kids, whatever channel that was, we lost it. So I
No.
lost all that kind of shit. But
Well, it's a awesome series
yeah,
in concept. It's cool too in art. It reminds me a lot of Bleach.
I like his art a
And
lot. Yeah.
it reminds me a lot of Bleach in a lot of aspects, art style and in concept. And I'm looking forward to the new anime.
Yeah.
Because
It looks clean,
that's
dude. It looks super clean.
that's an anime that I will watch weekly because of just nostalgia purposes. Like it's such an important. Like before Naruto, before any of that shit was for me, it was Shaman King.
Yeah. I
So
think I was thinking about this the other day because Trash Chase came out with their podcast not too long ago, where they were talking about like the anime series and they were doing like their 3x3s or whatever, and I was like trying to consider like what would be in my 3x3. I was just thinking about like the first anime I ever watched.
what does
And I
that
think
mean?
it's like,
What does that mean? 3x3.
this was like the way I understood the concept is that you basically pick like so you have a 3x3 grid
Uh huh.
of basically you put like pictures of anime series in there, and you're supposed to pick the anime series that like represent you as an anime viewer
Mm-hmm.
and like basically like your tastes and whatnot. And so I was thinking
Okay.
about that, and I was like, what would I put in like my 3x3?
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like cataloging of like shows that I'd seen and like what really stuck with me or whatnot. And I was like, what's the first show I ever watched, like anime wise? And it's like, obviously the obvious answer is like Pokemon, but that's like you didn't really even know what anime was. So when like you were
Yeah.
watching Pokemon, you just thought it was like another cartoon.
Yeah.
I think the first one that like ever really stuck out to me was probably Naruto.
Yeah. I get
I
that.
think.
It was a big one. Um, it's just so you just pick three.
You pick nine.
Jesus Christ, what?
Yeah, so it's a 3x3 grid. So it's three
That's too.
cross.
Why nine? Just do
Because
10.
there's a lot of anime.
Just pick 10 then.
Well, it's a nice grid format.
Um, I couldn't tell you nine at the top. I don't think there's nine that matter to me that
I
much.
hadn't really thought about it much since other than that initial like thinking about it. Like I've never tried to like put my own together or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I don't know if I could really like nail down like nine that like define my specific taste. I feel like it would have to be like
Is it taste
genre
or is
wise.
it does
We
each
just pick
box
like
have a
the best
hold
out of
on?
that genre. But
Does
it
each box have a different category or is it supposed to be like
doesn't
nine?
have to. It's just to accompany your it. It's not like they don't have to have different categories. It's just like the nine shows that you feel like if somebody looked at this like nine
Yeah,
shows
yeah.
that you picked, they'd be able to be like, all right, I know what kind of anime that you
Right.
like.
So it just boils down to like your specific genre preferences.
Basically, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, like, it doesn't have their stuff to. It's just like the shows that are like
Mm-hmm.
these are like your favorite shows of all time.
Right.
Shows that you like rewould. The way that Trash Taste guys get it, and I agree with this. Basically, it's like these are shows that like you would rewatch again, and it wouldn't be like a chore to do it. Like you would
Mm.
enjoy going back and like watching through all of these again.
Right. I couldn't. Yeah, I can't think of nine.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I sat down, I probably could. If I like went through my list and like, I could probably like figure out nine. It's just a lot to like come
I don't
up
think
with.
I like anime that much
Well, I mean, that's a problem.
to give you nine. I think if it was like nine, give me nine movies all day.
Well, yeah. I
All
mean, you could
day.
do the same concept with like movies or TV
Yeah,
shows or anything.
like nine TV shows all day. I got you. Nine
Yeah.
movies all day. I got you.
I mean, obviously, Psych is in the TV show
Yeah,
one
for sure.
obviously.
24 Psych. So it's all day.
I would
Saved by
I
the
would probably
Bell.
put SG1 in there. Psych,
Yeah, I can
SG1.
do SG1.
Uh,
Saved by
I'd
the
probably
Bell.
NCIS because I always like NCIS.
Not for me, but I could do.
Um,
Oh, it'll be some sort of crime show like The Wire.
Hannibal will probably be in my list.
Not for me.
I really like
Um,
Hannibal.
yeah, movies, TV would be very easy for me, but for anime, I can do like I can
I
think
think
of.
we should probably do this one day. Like we should try to do this for like TV shows or movies or something like that.
Sure, I can do. I can give you three anime right now. The
Three anime?
three starting grid.
Okay.
All right,
So this is your
so
top row.
okay, top row.
Okay.
So Dragon Ball,
Okay.
like in that includes Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I mean, if you put Dragon Ball in there, I would consider them both. I mean, I guess some people wouldn't, but I would.
If I had to break it down, Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah.
right? So Dragon Ball Z, um, shit, Shaman King,
Okay.
fucking, I don't know the third one. I thought I had one. I don't.
I think for me,
Gundam Wing. I don't fucking know.
I feel like my initial thing would be like, I want to say Naruto, but
By
it's
the way,
like,
hold on. I just named
would
the
I really
I
want to
just named the
rewatch
Toonami's
Naruto? I really
lineup. That's what I
wouldn't.
did.
The what?
I just named like an hour block of Toonami. That's what I just did.
Yeah, basically.
That's what I did.
Um, fuck, dude.
But you
I don't
watch
know.
so much anime, so it's like you have so many options.
I have a lot, but it's like I've watched so much that
It would be one show about the people who travel to a different universe.
oh yeah, Ad Astra would definitely be in there for sure.
No, no,
I
no.
mean,
I'm
it's
saying
like
it would be that it's that show,
the
the
show that I
style.
would think of like one of the first shows that I know would be on my list because it's also like a guilty pleasure show of mine because I know it's like kind of bad, but it's like one of the first series that like I would say like even more than like Naruto, it's like one of the first series that like ever got me into like watching anime and like watching other series other than like the big three was like Busha Renkin, which
Yeah.
is like a show that like I don't know if you've heard of that. I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
almost nobody's ever heard of it, but
Yeah. Didn't he make Kenshin too?
I don't know. It's got a similar art style to
I'm pretty
Kenshin,
sure the guy also made Kenshin. Google
but
that.
it's one of those
Hey,
like guilty
Google
pleasure
that
series.
while I pee real quick.
Oh yeah, but I think it's one of those like guilty pleasure series for me where it's like it's one of those shows that's also like always stuck with me. Like I think about Busha Renkin probably like once a year just because I loved it that much. I love the concept of it. I like the character a lot. I haven't rewatched it since then. Like I feel like it's one of those shows that like if I went back and like rewatch it, I'd be like, "Yeah, this is kind of garbage." But as a kid, especially it was like a middle school kid, which is like when I really got into anime. It was like one of those shows that like, goddamn, I like really really loved. I thought it was super super fun, and it's short too. I feel like that would be in there. So it would be like probably like Busho Renkin. It'd be Ad Astra would probably be in there. Air Gear would probably be in there because I love Air Gear so much. I would rewatch Air Gear again. So it'd be like the first three or like four I could think of would
I
be
wrote it
like
back for me.
Air Gear. It'd
Air
be
Gear.
like Busho Renkin. It'd be Ad Astra. It'd probably be fuck. I just had it. I had it on the tip of my tongue, and then I started like saying shit again, and I lost it.
Okay. So repeat it. Maybe we'll come back to you.
The first three that I could think of would be like Ad Astra, it'd
Mm-hmm.
be Busha Renkin, Air Gear. Oh, and Angel Beats would be like the fourth one that I of like the
Angel
four.
Beats.
I loved Angel Beats. That was one of the shows that was like that was one of the earlier shows like besides Busha Renkin, it was like when I was in like computer class with Keelan, me and him were like watching Angel Beats at the same time. So it's like one of those shows that like has a special place in my heart because it's like one of those first shows that like I was actually like talking about it like with somebody like as it was airing. Like we
Mm.
were watching it every week and like discussing it and whatnot. And I just really like the story of Angel Beats a lot. I know
Sure.
he's also the guy that did like Plan Ad and his newer series I watched and I did not like as much. But I loved Angel Beats so much. It's such a fun show.
Right. Okay. Um. Hey, man. I was while I was taking a leak, I was thinking of a third one.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Not even Bleach.
No. But does it matter if like do I have to know? Because I discovered anime pretty young because I
Yeah.
moved to Japan. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like, I understood that what I was watching was not like there's a fine line between like whatever I was watching like on American TV
Mm-hmm.
versus like what was Japanese. So I knew there's a fine line. But when I think about like anime that really mattered to me as a
Mm-hmm.
kid, it was like yeah, like Shaman King, Dragon Ball Z, like the first Beyblade season. Like Yu-Gi-Oh
Is
was a
it
big deal.
Yeah.
I knew that was anime. I was anime as shit.
Oh, Yu Yu
Um,
Hakusho. Yeah.
no, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
super
I mean,
fucking
that's all
anime.
up there.
I was
I mean,
never.
it's your list, so it's like whatever you feel like, it
I
shows that
think
like really stuck with you.
if I made my grid of like my 9 anime,
Mm-hmm.
I would show like anime elitists, and they'd be like, This dude is an action movie fan of anime. This is the
Yeah.
equivalent to like action schlock guy.
Well, it's like it's better than like because it was funny because it was like you had like Joey's list and and Giguk's list, and they're both like they've got their like guilty pleasure shows in there, but they've also got like you can clearly tell that like they've watched a lot of anime and they've got like I mean Giguk had like One Piece on his list, which apparently he's rewatched multiple times because he's fucking insane. Um, but he had like
Yeah.
One Piece, and then he had like Your Name and like Evangelion, and Joey had Yu Yu Hakusho on his list, and I was like, fuck yeah, I would put Yu Yu Hakusho on my list. Um, and he had like some other stuff, and then you had Connor, and it was like Connor's list was like that basic bitch list of like it's not like they're not bad shows, but it's all
Hmm.
shows that like it's like yeah, these are all like 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s on like my anime list. Like there's
Right.
nothing like really distinct or like there's
Hmm.
nothing like gels like as a person. They're just like oh yeah, these are all really good shows,
Like if
and
I
that's
went
it.
to an anime convention, I'm gonna see all these shows cosplayed as.
Basically, well, kind of. I mean, it's like you had JoJo obviously because he's
Yeah.
like the biggest JoJo fan ever, so that had to be on there. But he had like Ping Pong the animation, and it's like I've never even heard. I would not even
Yeah.
like, as far as like knowing him from like his videos and stuff like that. I was like, I would never have got guessed that you would ever watch
So
Ping Pong
it would be
animation.
like
I haven't even
okay,
watched Ping Pong.
what's your list? Like okay, One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, Death Note, JoJo. It's like,
I
okay,
think
you
his list was like fuck. What was it? It was like ping pong. It was banana fish. It was JoJo.
Banana
It
Fish.
was what the fuck
That's
was?
old
I
ass
forgot
shit too.
his list. Think of like shows that are just like oh, it was like Monster was on there. I think
Wait,
no.
hold on. Banana Fish is it's anime now.
Yeah, banana. I think it came out in like 2019.
That's just
Uh,
old as fuck, dude.
is it?
That manga's old
I
as shit.
watched the first half of it, and it was on Amazon, and then I fell off. But I really enjoyed it. I mean,
That's
it
like
had
a
the
old. That's like a '80s manga.
is it?
Yeah, I
I didn't.
remember when I was.
I was just seeing the anime. It was like the gangster
Yeah, when I was
murder
super.
mystery
When I was
type of.
super into reading like adult like seinen like gangster manga like stuff like Crying Freeman and
Mhm.
Old Boy and oh there's another one with the guy who draws like super good looking dudes. He like makes everyone look
Shit,
super like
dude, that's.
he makes everyone look super like fucking like fancy. I can't remember his name. It's called oh god what's it called? Battleground? No. I swear that when I was looking at like manga like in the same vein, Banana Fish was like the same like type of story about like the assassin character, right? Like an assassin character who like has like morals or something.
Um. Well,
1985 to 1994.
he's not really like an assassin character. I mean, he's like a kid gangster. He's like the he works for like the mob boss in the area who's also like a like pedophile.
Okay.
So that's like weird. And then he has like the weird
Okay.
like I
Sorry,
don't know if
Zach.
I didn't finish the series, so I don't know if it's like actually homosexual, but they definitely have like homosexual tension with like this Japanese guy that shows up.
You should when you're on your phone right now, while you're looking,
Yeah,
look up the manga Sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
Yeah, Sanctuary.
Huh. Okay. Hold on. Sanctuary manga.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this series my whole life. I like the art though.
It's a really great gangster manga. Here's another manga called Heat that's really good. The artist, but when I was reading Crying Freeman, because I remember I bought the first two volumes of Crying Freeman at a convention,
Hmm.
um, and I knew what Crying Freeman was because Mark Dacascos was in the adaptation of Crying Freeman, and
Huh.
me as a video store action film junkie, that movie was never released in America, but I remember people kept talking about Crying Freeman. So
Hmm.
when I got old enough to use internet pathways and the ability to find video on the internet, I
Hmm.
found Crying Freeman the movie, and I thought this movie was fucking rad. So I wanted
Yeah.
to read the manga, so I bought it, and then I was on like Google or something, and they're like, "Yeah, you should also read Old Boy. You should also read Sanctuary, and you should also read Banana Fish." And I was like, "Okay." And I looked at all the art, and I was like, "Banana Fish looks like something the guy who made Lupin would make."
Yeah. It's got that kind of vibe to it for sure.
Like the art style. Whereas like I was looking at like Sanctuary and Crying Freeman, and those those styles of art are so realistic, like very realistic styles of drawing. So
Yeah.
I was not in the mood for like a Bishojo style,
Right. Yeah.
Lupin the Third, which is that's fine. I'm sure it's really good. I was more in the mood for like super realistic like gangster manga, so I never read it, but
I
I knew
got
it
you.
was old. So I'm surprised they made an anime out of it. Fucking
Oh yeah, that was the other
35
one.
years later.
Speaking of like realistic stuff, I mean, and I don't know if it's super realistic, but he had Kaiji on there,
Hmm.
which I've
Hmm.
never seen, but I've wanted to watch.
I've
And
read
then
the
I
first
realized why I
arc.
couldn't watch it because they were talking about in the episode that it's like it's only available in like 480p or something like that. Like it's never
They're
been like
a, a,
redistributed.
a manga pub company in America here just put the first volume out a few months ago.
Did they? Okay.
Two deluxe. They're doing it two volumes per thing.
Okay.
And it's all I don't know how where if it got canceled or not because they're basically being like, hey, if this first one doesn't sell, we're not going to keep doing it. But
Right.
um, this is probably maybe 6 months ago now, maybe 7 months ago. I was like, oh, I'm going to buy that when I get paid. Never bought it because okay, so to tie into your anime world, because I'm not an anime fan. I
Yeah.
used to be a big anime fan, but even then, I was really a surface level anime fan, in the
Mm.
sense of like I liked what I like, which is essentially my taste in action movies. Like
Yeah.
that's my anime style. Um, there's a China a HK movie, Hong Kong cinema movie with Chow Yun Fat and Andy Lau, and
Mm.
it's a fantastic movie. It's called God of Gamblers, and it's
Okay.
basically Rain Man, um, basically, but Chow Yun Fat's not mentally challenged,
Right.
and it's a comedy crime gambling movie. And
Okay.
then I remember seeing like um, the trailer or something for Kaiji, and I was like, okay, this still seems like it's kind of building the same kind of tension. Okay, I'll check it out. I
Yeah.
never did.
Yeah, I mean, it's Kaiju's one of those shows that, like, especially like listening to like Super Eye Patch Wolf, he's done like he's talked about it a bunch, and then I know Giga can, like, as far as like if you watch enough like anime YouTubers, they all talk about Kaiji eventually because it's
Yeah.
like one of those shows that like everybody likes, everybody says is like really really well done, and it's just like I
Yeah.
haven't had a chance to watch it.
Oh, I fucking know my list, dude.
Oh yeah,
I got more to my list. Sorry to interrupt
okay,
you. I said Dragon Ball Z, right?
yeah,
I say
Shaman
Beyblade,
King and Beyblade.
Shaman King,
Yeah,
Slam Dunk, Initial
okay,
D, Prince of Tennis,
okay.
probably Gundam Seed. Even though everyone hates Gundam Seed, I loved Gundam Seed as a
I
kid.
don't think I've watched Gundam Seed. I watched Gundam Wing.
Oh,
Uh,
Wing is much better.
okay.
The Gundam Seed there's Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny, which is the sequel series.
Gundam Seed is the one with the Justice Gundam, right?
Yes, Gundam Seed the first series is not bad. It's fine. Gundam Seed Destiny is ass because they had no money for budget, I think, and they just animated nothing. It was
Yeah.
terrible, but I loved it as a fucking kid.
Yeah.
Um, because I love overpowered characters, and the main character from Gundam Seed becomes fucking god, and then not really. He's a good pilot, right?
I feel
So
like that's all Gundam characters though. Like the main characters eventually it's like if you get far enough along in the series, like they just become a
listen,
god.
Amuro
Pilot.
never gets to that point because every time.
No, but in Gundam Wing, Hero is. He's just
Yes,
like a god pilot at one
yes,
point.
but Amuro never gets to that point because as he gets better, so does Char. So they
Yeah.
keep each other in balance, right? That's why they both die, right?
Yeah.
But in Gundam
I think that's the one
Seed,
thing I liked about Unicorn too, because I don't remember his name, but like he's not
yeah.
necessarily like a great pilot.
Well, it's also because the fucking machine is so fucking good.
I mean, Unicorn's fucking rad
Yeah,
ass.
you know what I mean. But in Gundam Seed, Kira, the main character, Kira Yamato, he's like the whole story is basically fucking Gundam. Basically,
Yeah.
lives on a planet the Federation whatever attacks. But their new types. They're called coordinators, which is what they're called in this version.
Hmm.
And it's him versus his own people pretty much. And he becomes the next level of new type or whatever the fuck. And no one else can keep up really. And
Yeah.
then sequel series, he's now a pacifist, right? So now he's brought back in the fold, and that story to me is so cool because he's a fucking god. Even though
Yeah.
the animation in the show is terrible, but that particular storyline, I'm like, yes, come on and fucking kill everybody. He kills nobody. From that point on, he's like, I'm gonna just destroy weapons, and I'm like, fucking lame,
Damn. That kind
fucking
of blows.
lame. But Slam Dunk is in my top 3 manga of all
Okay.
time. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Prince
No
of
JoJo?
Tennis. I got into JoJo real late.
Fair enough.
I didn't get into JoJo until I was in high school, like a senior in high school or something.
Yeah.
And even then, that's only because I was reading Fist of the North Star, and I
Dude,
wanted to read
you know what would
more.
be in my list, dude? Fucking
What?
Brotherhood, man.
Yeah, it's probably on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Full
that's
Metal,
really
dude.
good. No, I didn't get into JoJo because this is before the anime came out, the new one. Like I said, I was reading Fist of the North Star, and I wanted to read other big dude anime,
Mm-hmm.
like muscular, like fight dudes, and people were like, you should read
Dude, I feel
JoJo.
like as far as like I feel like if you just watch Trash Taste, I feel like you are Connor like as an anime fan. Because that was what he was talking about was 3x3. It was like because it was like because Connor and or not Connor, Joey and Giga kept being like, why didn't you just put Baki in your list? He was like, because it's like I don't remember exactly the reason it was, but he's like Giga's like, look, I know you fucking love Baki because you love Chad fucking anime. You like anime
What does that
with big
mean?
fucking dudes
Chad
that
anime.
fucking wreck shit. And
Yeah.
he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
And Joey's like, you should just read Fist of the North Star. And he's like, that's too Chad. And he's like, no, you haven't read Fist of the North
Listen,
Star.
dude, I have a poster of Arnold to my left and a poster
Yeah.
of Arnold behind me.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, I feel like you're Connor as an anime fan. Like, you just like Chad. You like Chad anime.
I mean,
Just
I,
like
I
fucking
like
type A men who fucking wreck shit.
I like Darker Than Black. That was a cool
Yeah.
anime.
Darker Black is cool. The sequel series fucking blows. I
Never
watched
watched.
like 2
That's when
episodes
he
of
had
it.
like no
Terrible.
powers, right?
Yeah, well, I like the first season of Dark and Black because I like the power system a lot. Of like,
No, he had no powers in the second one, right?
I can't remember. I watched like 2 episodes and it was so bad like I couldn't even finish it.
I remember watching the first season. We're thinking of the same show, right? Darker Than Black.
Yeah, where he has like the electric powers
Yeah,
and he
okay,
has
yeah,
the
like the spy,
smoke
like the
to
spy show.
use it. Yeah, which is the great hook
Yeah,
for that series of like you have to use superpowers, but there's a catch to it.
yeah, I love that shit. Right?
Yeah.
The first season's so cool. I remember watching the second season where he's like long hair.
He's got like he basically looks like a hobo. Like
he's like he
beard,
he
like,
basically
is
looks like the guy from The Man from Nowhere.
Yes.
And then he cuts his hair off. He's like, I'm back in the game, and I'm like, okay, that's what The Man from Nowhere did.
I didn't even get that far. Like I was still like he's still a hobo, and I was like, this is not enjoyable to me.
Yeah, he didn't have any powers anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think I could be wrong because it's been a decade since I've seen that show.
Yeah.
I thought the thing was that he wasn't actually a superpower guy.
Oh fuck, dude.
I thought like he was given the powers. I thought.
I can't even tell you.
It's been like remember.
It's been at least a half a decade since I watched that.
Yeah.
So I'm not entirely sure.
Besides anime, what else have you been checking out?
Before we get to my last thing, we talked about FGC at the top, and I gotta fucking bring this shit up, dude, because it makes me want to get back into FGC. This has been a big week. Because I feel like FGC hasn't come up in a long time, but 2 things happened. Which was one, Guilty Gear showed off a bunch of new footage.
Yeah.
And their beta is coming out, I think, like next week. Yeah. And goddamn, dude, this game looks so fucking fun.
What's it called? Guilty Gear what?
Strive, which
Guilty
is a terrible
Gear
name.
Strive.
But it looks so dope.
I never liked Guilty Gear, man.
I like Guilty Gear a lot, but I like the aesthetic of Guilty Gear.
Yes,
like, I think
I
it looks
agree.
dope. I think as far as like anime games are concerned, like I think it's probably like one of my favorite looking, and I like the whole. It's all like heavy metal, rock and roll, and like anime characters mixed together. I love that shit.
Yeah.
I didn't really love the battle system in Guilty Gear because I think it's really complicated for like no reason.
Yeah.
Which is not true. It's complicated, but there's like a distinct reason for it, and it gives you a lot of like creativity and the ability to like customize and adapt to a bunch of different situations.
I just remember being
But there's just so much stuff in it that it's so easy to get drowned. So easy to drown in it.
I remember being at a convention one time, and I was watching a bunch of dudes play Guilty Gear.
Mm-hmm.
Or which one's more complicated, BlazBlue or Guilty Gear?
I think they're like both up there with like.
I was watching one of them. I think it's the same company, right?
Yeah, it's the same company.
So I was watching.
It's slightly different art styles, but they're very similar games.
I was watching one of them. It's either Guilty Gear or BlazBlue. One of the games. I can't remember which one it was, but it was distinctly anime.
Yeah.
And I was listening to one of the guys who was watching who had next.
Mm-hmm.
Just like narrate the game to people. I guess he was kind of just talking about it. Yeah. And he was like, you're charging this, you're gonna cancel that, you're gonna do this, this, and this, and you're holding this charge up. And I was like, yo, I do Dragon Punch, and my guy punches up in the air. That's the game that I play.
I know Dragon Punch, and I wouldn't know Hadouken.
I knew back quarter circle, forward quarter circle, Dragon Punch. If you ask me to charge a stick, fuck off. That's how I play fighting games. What's up? Delay inputs, eat dicks. Don't do that shit.
Yeah.
That's how I play.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that I'm liking about Guilty Gear Strive a lot is that I know a lot of Guilty Gear players aren't happy about it, but they've kind of like they're not dumbed down, but I think they've lessened the options a little bit, so it's not as easy to drown yourself in. I mean, they still have like the Roman cancel shit, but there's not like 8 different versions of them like there was in the last Guilty Gear. There's a quick one, there's one that kind of like gets you like a slowdown, so you kind of like get your bearings and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that's really like the only like cancel thing. I mean, they've got the other like anime game and like just fighting game stuff. They got like the Just Defense and all that kind of stuff. But all that stuff's kind of like normal ish.
Yeah.
There's nothing like too crazy complicated in Guilty Gear outside of like at least in Strive, outside of like the Roman cancel from what I can
Yeah.
see.
You know
Uh,
the my favorite fighting game of all time, and
mm,
it's not really because Street Fighter
4?
probably four,
4's fun.
4-2, whichever one. The Super, is that Super 4 or is that Arcade Edition? Which one's what's
The second one was Super.
so
Yeah, Super Street
Super
Fighter.
was my favorite Street Fighter game, my favorite fighting game of all time.
Yeah, Super Street
Um,
Fighter 4 is a really fun game.
with Mortal Kombat 11 quickly like rising up to be close to my favorite, cause just purely based on Rambo.
Yeah.
But my favorite fighting game also is Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Hmm.
Not because the game is good, because it's not. 2 is much
Characters.
better. The character roster sucks.
Mm.
But Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is the game that is the best fighting game for if you have a decent understanding of fighting games. Like you're a person who just likes fighting games. Like
Mm.
you're like us. You watch stuff. You're competent enough to know what's happening, but you're
Mm.
not necessarily dedicated enough to put the hours in to get to be that good. But you understand the
Right.
basic That's where we're at. We understand the basic concepts.
Mm.
We maybe know one or two low tier strings,
Mm-hmm.
but we just don't have the fire to put in the time to become that good. That's where we're at, right?
Right.
But Marvel vs. Capcom 3, with every system in that game between like the comeback factor and all that kind of shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the built-in launcher where you just hit the 1 2 3 launch, you are if you play your people in your friend group who don't play fighting games at all, you are a god.
Yeah.
You play Street Fighter, everyone can mash that game, but if you play Marvel vs. Capcom 3 specifically, you can X Factor, you can launch, you can fucking do the launcher into the fucking change outs, you can do
Mm-hmm.
launcher into change out into DHCs. You could, and that's basic. That's
Yeah.
basic shit. You don't do fucking ground bounces or anything of that stuff. You can literally just do what the game tells you to do, and you have enough sequence in your hand to do on a pad. Just go square, triangle, circle, X, square, triangle,
Yeah.
circle, X, quarter circle R2, quarter circle R2, and you are fucking leagues above your friends, right?
Yeah.
Any other fighting game, it's just everyone's mashing buttons.
Mm.
But MVC3, you're like, what's up? I'm losing now because they're mashing buttons really well.
X Factor.
X Factor, boom. And then
Yeah.
I'm going to do this fucking Ryu Hadoken 3 times, 4 bars, boom, boom, boom. And they're like, how do I win this? I go, I don't know. Block.
I don't know.
I'm just going to chip you out. X Factor Super, and you're dead.
Yeah.
So,
That's fair.
when's the game come out for you?
The beta comes out in February 17th, I think, is the beta drops. I don't think it's actually releasing in full until like, fuck, I want to say like September or October.
Okay.
Still a pretty long ways away. I mean, they still have one character left to announce that they haven't announced yet. Because it's
Akuma.
dropping with a base roster of 15 characters,
Mm.
which seems a little small, but I guess original Guilty Gear, I think, launched around with about the same amount of characters. So
So how's that werewolf guy? Is he in that game?
no,
Has Soul Bad Guy.
he has Soul Bad Guy. He's got Kai Kisuke. He's
Has the
got a
guy.
sweet dragon. He's got like an install super that looks fucking dope. That was like the new footage that dropped that like kind of made me like want to play him because it was like I tried to play XR 2 a couple months ago and it was like I'm not good at the game, so it's like when I'm usually not good at game, I try to go for like the white bread character that like
Yeah.
gets me like used to everything, and like Kai's
Yeah.
basically like character in like all the Guilty Gear games. Like he's got decent tools. He's not like super great at everything, but he gets
Yeah.
you like able to like learn like what kind of combos you should be making and stuff like that.
You're right.
So I was playing with him. I was like, he's fine, but he hasn't got that like oomph that I need to like really like want to get into this game.
Yeah.
And this install super is like, it looks pretty fucking dope. And I
Yeah.
was like, goddamn, dude, if I play Kai and I start doing this install, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm gonna have a fun fucking time.
I Yeah, that
Also, they
makes
got the
me.
girl with like the thunder puppy. I don't know if you've
Oh,
seen her,
I don't think I have.
but first of all, she looks great to play, and she's hot. So
Yeah, there you go. The combo.
combo me.
I Yeah, I mentioned before in the podcast, but that's why I'm looking forward to new consoles and new Street Fighter.
Hmm.
I really want them to just move on from five and like,
Well, that goes to the other bit,
you know,
which is that they're doing season 5 of Street Fighter,
yeah,
because they basically realize that like I don't know what's going on, but they're not ready to do a Street Fighter 6 yet.
yeah.
Is what this is all telling me because they're just delaying Street Fighter
No
even longer.
one
But
likes this game.
no, not really. I mean, although there is one thing that makes me want to play it again, which is what they dropped in the latest update video, which is Rose is coming back.
Who cares?
I like Rose. Rose is the character I played in Street Fighter 4.
Let's stop taking models we already have made and trying to up-res them.
Actually, she looks really good.
Let's just okay. We have enough characters.
But I don't like the art style in this game, so that's the
Yeah,
problem.
it's terrible. I again, Street Fighter 6 or whatever you're gonna do, like Street Fighter, whatever, Vengeance. I don't fucking know. I just need give me new characters. Give me the
Yeah.
main guys. Obviously, you have to do what you have to be smart and don't do.
I would like for them to just I would like for them to just pull a Street Fighter 3 and just go with like
Yes.
new characters outside of like
But
Ken and
you, but still, you have to give me the basics: the Chuns, the Guiles,
You basically really just need
Ryu,
the three. You need like
Ken.
Ken, Ryu, and Chun, and that's
Geef.
really it. And you can just like go out from there.
But give me new characters, and then eventually bring in the cast, right?
Well, that was the problem that I feel like I really had with like Street Fighter 5, which is like they basically said that they were going to do that, but like
Yeah,
I mean, you look at like the base Street Fighter 5 roster, and it's like half of it is like old characters.
yeah.
Half of it is like the base characters that like you expect to see, and then the other half is like just older characters. There really wasn't any new character in the base roster of Street Fighter 5 except I think Nikali, who like only a few people played, and then
There's
Fang, who's like the worst character of the entire game.
Who?
Nikali is like the
No,
Bunga
the other
Bunga.
one you said.
He's the Chinese guy who does the poison shit.
There's also the Middle Eastern guy, right?
Oh yeah, him too.
And then the Brazilian girl.
Okay, so there's 4.
I trust me. I remember her.
I remember her. She's like,
I remember her.
but then its other is like, I mean, the other like 3/4 was like it was Zangief, it was Ryu,
Karen.
it was Ken, it was Chun, it was Bison, it was Cammy, and then it was like Rainbow Mika. Who else showed up? Nash.
Well, I'm fine with the character. Like I'm fine with Armika coming in because it's characters that we haven't seen in a decade, right?
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that, but also I want the majority of the cast in the initial game to be new characters with new play styles. Because it also like, okay, like that's why I love Street Fighter 4 because like, not saying the majority of the cast was new, but like I was drawn to the like Abel. I was like drawn to these guys. You know what I mean? To characters that I haven't seen before, and even with characters like Rose, who wasn't a new character, she was new to me because. That I haven't seen Rose. She wasn't in.
I didn't really played Alpha.
Yeah, I didn't really play Alpha that much. I mean, I played Alpha every now and then, but really, it was 3 is what I played more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I would love to see new characters, and I also just really want I just really want to play Sagat.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think was most disappointing about 5 is that Sagat basically blows in this game.
Yeah, I really want Sagat, and I also really want to play I want them to make a wrestling character like El Forte. But not small. I want him to be like a fucking like.
Well, they may have that. It's called Zangief.
No, I want a wrestler, not a grappler.
They have that too. It's called Armika.
Yeah, I want someone who's the size and that has the fucking health meter and the damage output of Geef, but has wrestling moves like Hulk Hogan.
Well, they also have that. It's called Alex.
No,
he's basically a wrestler.
He has fucking like laser fucking chops.
He's got just a chop. He's got elbow thing. He's got the foot drop. He's got a suplex.
No, I want Armika moveset where she's throwing people across imaginary ropes and they're bouncing back like this, and she's drop a kick in and she's clothesline. That's what I want.
Armika's as close as you're ever gonna get to that.
No, I don't want fucking buttless chaps on my dude character. I want to see fucking Street Fighter 6. I pick it's fucking Hulk Hogan. He comes out with the fucking NWO bandana. He's the fucking guitar with the belt. He's fucking.
You just want a WWE game that's a fighting game.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yes,
actually.
I do.
Yeah.
Cause I want to play as Razor Ramon, fucking coming through, fucking Razor's Edge.
Right.
Cool, Zach. Anything else you've been up to, man?
The last thing I did was I watched a movie. as I often do, Jay and Mike talked about it. I don't know if you watched their video, but I watched the Kid Detective.
Yeah, I was so mad because I saw it last week.
Oh, you watched this
Yeah, I
movie
watched
last
it
week?
last week.
And then their video came out.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I watched it on their recommendation. I liked it. Um, it's a lot of things that they said. It was like, it has that mix of like humor and like dark subject material, especially when you get to the end. It's like incredibly dark. Feels like it should be on like a CSI or NCIS type of show, like that kind of subject matter. Um, but then there's also moments where I was just like, stuff happened and I was like laughing out loud.
Yeah.
It was just like, what the hell is even going on right now? The only
Yeah.
thing I disagree with them with is they talk a lot about the end scene in the
Mhm.
movie, and they talked about how it was funny to them. And I don't know, maybe it's just like different sensibilities, but I don't know. I didn't find it like funny. I found it like fairly depressing.
Yeah.
And like I get what's going on with the scene, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like the difference in like our sense of humor, which I mean I feel like I'm pretty close, but like as far as like the ending scene goes, I don't know. I was just like severely depressed, and
Yeah.
it made me very sad. That like I mean the whole ending scene is him basically like coming to grips with like his abilities as a detective,
Mhm.
and realizing that like he really is not as great as like he thought he was, and it's like coming
Mhm.
to terms with the fact of like, especially with, like his image was built up a lot as a kid, but like the town who basically like made him as some sort of genius, but then it's like comes to grip as like being an alcoholic 32-year-old who like took 20 some years to solve this case, that like you basically like your whole entire life basically took a downward spiral as soon as you couldn't solve it,
Mhm.
which you really shouldn't be expected to because you were like a 12-year-old kid, but like you putting that amount of pressure on yourself, and then seeing that like the answer was kind of staring you in the face the whole time, and it's just like you're just not as good as you thought you were, and that
Yeah.
like kind of like breaking down of like your entire psyche as a character. I don't know, it was incredibly sad to me. I did not really
No,
laugh
yeah.
that much in that
I
scene. I
yeah,
did love his parents because they're just so awkward and they literally don't know how to handle him.
yeah.
They clearly like don't know what to like do or say to him. It's like they're like the worst parents I've ever seen in like a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the movie a lot. It definitely reminded me of this book called Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero, which is
Mm-hmm.
essentially like Scooby Doo but when they grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, it does remind me of Mystery Team.
I didn't watch Mystery Team, but
Um,
yeah, it's got me that
yeah,
similar type of vibe. Is basically like, yeah, you've got the whole like you basically like take something that's like rooted in it, like 80s kid like adventure detective nostalgia type of thing, and you like thrust it into like not necessarily modern day because it clearly takes place in like the 80s or something like that.
no,
Like
it's
the
modern
present,
day.
is it? I don't know. The cars just didn't look modern day. They look like older, like
Remember,
80s,
because like
90s cars.
he just doesn't know how to use. He's not use his phone. He's not good at social media. Like
That's true. Yeah, I guess
he
because yeah, social media
he
does. I don't
he
know. It
as
was
a
just weird
person
because it
he
was like
doesn't
as
grow.
the woman, the girl is like driving around in the car.
Yeah,
It just doesn't look like a modern day car.
yeah.
It looks like a car that's like from the
Well, it's
80s.
because maybe it's a choice where it's like again he doesn't choose to use social media. He doesn't use the internet. It's like his own world is still stuck when he was a child.
Yeah, kind
So
of.
I don't know, but I like the movie. I like the movie. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Um, Again, it just makes me wish it all reminds me, and it's not similar really,
Hmm.
but it's similar enough to make me go, Zach, you need to watch Brick because it's similar enough. Because Brick's
Okay.
about a kid detective. He's not a kid. He's in high school, but it's
Okay.
about a fucking detective in high school, and it's fucking. You're gonna watch Brick when you do, whenever you do, at some point in your life, and
Okay.
you're gonna be like, this shit is exactly what Riverdale and all these shows think they're doing, but they're
Hmm.
not doing it as well as this movie is.
Okay.
Um, and it's just as dark as it's pretty dark too. Brick's
Okay.
pretty dark. Um, but I like the Kid Detective. It was good. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
It's a fun time. Um, but yeah, that
cool.
was the really like the last big thing that I checked out. Jason, what have you been checking out?
Nothing much, man. I got it was my birthday yesterday,
Okay.
and I bought some toys that
Nice.
I bought pretty much a bunch of Bill and Ted toys
Okay.
that I had already, and then I sold them when I moved to this house. But I wanted them again, so I bought them back. Not from the same person. I bought them from someone else. Um, but it's NECA Bill and Ted 2 pack, and I bought these. It's Fig Biz and Sendium little 5-inch Bill and Teds, and I bought the same company made the phone booth for that, and they're over there. I was gonna grab them, but they're too far away. Um, and I bought my $200 toy that I
Yes,
mentioned
I
last week,
saw.
which is my 3-0 Rambo, came in right there. Pretty solid Fig. I'm happy with it.
He's looking pretty legit.
Yeah, and then a couple weeks, my Bill and Ted Blitzway $400 pack
Woo!
comes in, so I'm looking forward to that. But in terms of what I have consumed, not just spent my fucking money on, uh, for the first time, my girlfriend has watched. Really, we watched the original Star Wars trilogy.
Okay.
She's never seen them before. She's seen them kind of. She was in the room when they were being watched, but she never really watched them.
Okay.
And I haven't seen the movies in, I don't know, three years probably.
I think it's been 6 or so years since I rewatched them. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been 3 or 4 years for me. Um, and hey, spoiler alert, they hold up.
They're really good.
In case anyone forgot that Star Wars holds up, they hold up. Um, because we finished watching our
Oh wait,
Marvel. Uh huh.
it hasn't been that long.
Why
We did our rewatch, didn't we? Before the Mandalorian.
did we?
I know we watched the prequels, and I thought we watched
I think we
the
did.
originals too.
I must have forgot then.
I know we were gonna. I thought. I remember we. Because I think we did it leading up to the
Mm-hmm.
Mandalorian because we were gonna do it for the premiere,
Mm.
and then we were gonna watch
Or
the
was
new
it or
trilogy,
was it
and then I
Rise of
watched the
Skywalker?
Force Awakens, and then we didn't want to watch anymore.
Okay. Well, then I forgot that we did that.
I think so.
Either way, um, I think you're right, but maybe you're wrong, but maybe
It's
you're right.
possible. It's possible I'm wrong.
I know we were. I remember rewatching Attack of the Clones, so I
I
think you're
know we
right.
I know we at least did the prequel. Maybe we didn't do
Yeah,
the original. I know we at
I
least
don't
did the
remember.
prequels.
Um, but she enjoyed them, um, and I enjoyed them,
Mm.
and maybe want to like Star Wars again, and like buy Star Wars toys again.
No.
And then I saw that Gina Carano got fired from Star Wars,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't know why. I know she was like conservative or something,
Yeah. Basically,
and
that's
I
the only
was
reason.
like, I don't. Okay, I'm good. So I don't care again.
Do you see that? Speaking of her, that I guess Ben got in touch with her, and now they're going to be producing a movie with her.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah, she's hot. Um,
she is.
we did that. I watched that with those movies, and they're fine. Obviously, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Um, the big thing that I did
Oh.
on the polar opposite of Gina Carano,
Okay.
I watched the first season for the first time in fucking years. I've been meaning to do it for a while since I got HBO Max, but I watched the first season of Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Oh shit, dude.
I loved this show growing up. This
Yeah.
was a
Great
very
show.
important show to me growing up.
I forgot
Um,
that it's on HBO Max.
yeah, it's HBO Max, all 6 seasons. It's a big show to me as a kid.
Is that it? Six
Yep,
seasons? That's
six
it?
seasons.
Wow.
Um, I loved it growing up. I don't. It wasn't because I was too young to. I never liked hip hop as a kid. I never
Yeah.
liked rap. I just liked Will Smith. You know, like
He's great in
I
the
just
show.
loved Men in Black because I saw the show. The show was over by the time I was
Yeah.
paying attention to TV. I know. So when I was watching it in like 97, 98 reruns, the shows have been over for 2 years already. So,
Mhm.
but at this point in time, I'm already watching Men in Black. I'm seeing him as a film guy. I'm like, oh man, he's so good in this. So I was watching the reruns. I'm like, I fucking love this guy. You
Yeah.
know. So I was rewatching. I watched the first season of Fresh Prince, and it's really, really great. I'm excited to move on to the next season. But it made me want to watch more sitcom-y shit, which is very
Okay.
rare for me because I've only seen like 4 sitcoms ever.
I've watched quite a few sitcoms.
I've only seen like 4 or 5 ever.
There's only a couple that stick out to me, but I know I've watched quite a few. I've watched Married with Children is obviously a big one that
Yeah,
I've watched, and I love that one. Um, Full House here and there,
yeah.
Fresh Prince. Maybe I haven't seen that many,
I have
or at least they're
I
not
have
like sticking out to
no,
me.
I have not seen many, and the ones I have seen all the way through it and consistently
Hmm.
are ones that were replayed on Nick at Night or something like that, right? But it's if we're going like sitcom-y, so Fresh Prince, um, Full House was never one. Home Improvement was a major one.
That wasn't really a big one for
My
me.
family, my dad fucking loved that show. So I watched that a lot. It was like like Family Ties, right? Love Family
Wow.
Ties. Brady Bunch, if you want to go older shit.
That's
Cheers, love
shit.
Cheers. I wouldn't really consider MASH a sitcom, but maybe. But MASH. It was Hanging with Mr. Cooper because for some reason when I was a kid, I watched a lot of UPN, which was apparently was more of an African American persuasion channel. I just happened to watch a lot of those shows. But so I never really watched a lot of sitcoms comparatively to other people who watch a ton, especially in, like modern era. '90s sitcoms I saw a lot more of.
Hmm.
Um, but Fresh Prince was definitely towards the top of them. If I didn't consider Boy Meets World and Saved by the Bell, infinitely better. Oh, also I bought two. I bought the whole complete series of Saved by the Bell too.
Oh,
It was on sale on eBay for like $32.
wow, that's pretty good.
So after Screech died, I was like, I have to get this. Um,
I'm surprised it's still that low after Screech died.
so yeah, Amazon had it for 50. I was like, fuck Amazon. I'm gonna go somewhere cheaper. So I found it
Jeff
for
Bezos isn't the CEO anymore.
$32.
CEO
Yeah.
anymore. Fuck this company.
But so my point was this. So I wanted to see when it comes to modern sitcoms, I don't really watch that much.
I can't
Um,
think of a modern sitcom really.
the last one that I watched all the way through and actually liked
Oh, it was
was
Modern Family probably.
I watched the first half of that show.
Okay.
I'd never finished it. But I did like what I did. I did like what I watched. No, what was How I Met Your Mother.
Oh yeah.
I loved that show. And I didn't watch it. I
Uh,
didn't watch it when it was airing. I watched it like after it was already done.
yeah, I didn't watch it when it was airing either. I watched it with my ex. It was like around that time where it was like we watched all The Office together, we watched Parks and Rec, and we watched all of How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
Um, I like How I Met Your Mother a lot. I think it was the ending didn't sit well with me. I don't like the
Yeah.
last
No.
episode,
And there's bad.
but everything else is great.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I love the show. I
it's a
watched
great
it
cast
on
of
Netflix.
characters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I watched it on Netflix when I was over. Um, probably like 2012, 2013 is when I
Judge
watched it.
Fudge, man, god damn it, I still think of that.
And
All the,
then all Parks and Rec was also one I watched years after it was over.
yeah.
I enjoyed that, but I think How Much Your Mother is better. So what I wanted to do was watching Fresh Prince. I want to watch a new sitcom,
Mhm.
and this next one I found happens to also be over. This last year ended this last year, and it also takes place in the '90s, but it's also about Asian people. So I was like,
Oh,
"Oh, I should like this show because I'm Asian,
it's off the boat, right?
fresh off the boat." Yeah,
Fresh off the boat.
and our friend group, especially our friend Shaquille, really likes the guy who made who the guy who's the story's based on
Hmm.
is a guy named Eddie Huang, who's like I think he's Taiwanese, I think, or Chinese, some one of the two. I can't remember which one he is, but
Hmm.
he's like a chef, restaurateur, and we watched his Vice show on like Vice Food, like in
Hmm.
like 2012 or something on YouTube. We loved his YouTube channel and he loved his episodes of his show. He was like Anthony Bourdain it. You know, I
Hmm.
was like traveling around the world talking about hip hop and talking about food and shit. Um, so I remember when the show got premiered in 2015, I was like, oh, it's based on his autobiography. I'll check it out, whatever. I'm also a rice eater. I just never did. And Randall Park's in it, and I love Randall Park.
Yeah,
He's really great. And obviously, I'm watching WandaVision now, and he's awesome in WandaVision.
yeah.
And he plays the dad in this, and he's awesome. And then I just never checked it out. Just never
Okay.
did. And then my girlfriend and I, a couple like a year or 2 years ago, whenever it came out, we watched Crazy Rich Asians,
Hmm.
and I didn't want to watch it, but she did. I was like, oh, I finally watched it, and it was fine, right? And
Yeah.
you would think that me, it goes back to that thing we've talked about 1,000 times, which is like I would love to see more Asian people in
Right.
movies. I would love to see more people that are slanty-eyed as action hero stars, but also I'm not gonna like make you do that. Like I want it
Yeah.
to be authentic. Yet when they make Asian movies with Asian people, with the Asian writer and director, I don't pay money to see it. Like I don't support it. You know what I mean? 'Cause my thought is, ugh,
Yeah.
you're not Jean Claude Van Damme. No, so I like Crazy Rich
Hold on. Keep
Asians.
talking. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, you're good. So I wanted to watch this sitcom, and I went on Hulu and I checked it out, and it's really good. I really enjoy it. I'm only 5 episodes in, which for a sitcom is not much. 22 minutes episode. So for 5 episodes, like 2 hours of content or something like that. It's super well done, and I think there's 6 seasons. And I'm kind of bummed out that I didn't watch it when it was airing because maybe I would have kept it from being the one view would have kept it from being canceled. But it's funny. Randall Park's really good in it. Constance Wu is really good in it. The kids who play Eddie and his brothers are really good. It's the fashion's really great. It's super duper 90s. It reminds me of myself, even though I'm definitely like I don't know how old Eddie Huang is. Let's Google it. Hold on. Eddie Huang. Yeah, we're definitely 10 years apart in age, but the tail end of that show, that decade, the '90s, is definitely what I remember. So it's good. I really enjoyed it, and I'm gonna continue watching it probably. Um, since it's finished, there's no reason not to finish it because it's over. So maybe I'll look for. I don't think they released the box set though. I'd rather buy it on DVD because these companies don't release Blu-rays, man. They don't do Blu-rays for these full series shows anymore, especially new ones. They just want you to buy it on digital or stream it, and that's annoying as shit. I'd rather just buy it on complete series on DVD or Blu-ray, specifically Blu-ray, especially for a new show. But the old show, I can go for DVD. But if it's a new show, there's no reason not to have fucking Blu-ray. Um, but
Yeah, I hate that shit when I go to like Walmart or something like that, and I see like a series that I like kind of wanted to check out, or just a series that I like, and it's just like only in DVD. And I'm like, motherfucker, I know this show came out like 2 years ago. Why is this not on Blu-ray?
yeah, but my big point was that a lot of companies don't put new shit out anymore. Like they won't put out a
Yeah,
new
not
show
really.
on Blu-ray or DVD. They want you just to buy it digitally.
Yeah.
So for Fresh Off the Boat, they have the season DVDs out there, but there's no collected edition yet, which to me is like it's been over for a year. At this point, you should have had a box set already. You
Yeah.
know. But I'm enjoying it. I'll probably continue watching it, and we'll see what happens. The other show that I want to rewatch
Mm-hmm.
that my girlfriend and I were watching before, which is not a '90s show, but it's an '80s show, is the Goldbergs. Um, now it's
Oh
really
yeah, I keep seeing that one. It was like that, and that's the one that's connected with like Schooled or whatever, right?
yeah
With Brian
yeah yeah
Callen.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that show got canceled, but yeah.
Well, yeah, because
No, I
Brian.
think I think it got canceled just because it sucked.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, but no,
I thought it
the
was because his
it's
shenanigans
weird
that
too
he was
because
up.
the Goldbergs is really good and really funny, but the fact that the sister's friend is Ali Mashaka,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, dude, you're like 28. Like, why are you playing a high school kid? You're like 27. This is fucking weird,
Well,
bro.
it always goes back to the thing where it's like you go back to like the first High School Musical, and really besides like Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens, like everybody else in that movie is like
Yeah,
28, 30 years
yeah,
old.
yeah.
Like fucking what's her name?
Ashley Tisdale.
Ashley Tisdale's like 32 years old, and she's trying to play like a 16-year-old. Like it's
I think
ridiculous.
she was younger than that.
I think she was like 30, 32
I
when like the
think
first High School
no, there's
Musical
no
came
way
out.
because she's probably that. She's probably like 25.
I think she was like the oldest one on the
I
cast.
believe that. I don't think she was 32 though. It's like
I know
Hannah.
there was somebody in there. Or no, you know what? You're right. It
You're
wasn't
thinking of
Ashley.
Hannah
It was the
Montana's
other. It
brother.
was the black girl.
Oh, okay. Because
The one that was like Vanessa Hudgens' friend or whatever. I
oh,
think she
okay.
was like 30, 32 or
Because if you
whatever.
remember, Hannah Montana's brother was like 30 years old when that show came
Yeah, that
out.
shit is crazy. Yeah.
You know what's gonna blow your mind even more?
Huh.
I just found out recently.
What?
So in Ferris Bueller's Day Off,
Uh-huh.
Ferris was like, no, Matthew Broderick's like
Right.
20, 21.
Mm-hmm.
Mia Sarah, I think she's like just turned 18 or something like that. Guess how old Cameron was?
God, what was he, like 28,
He was like
29?
30.
Jesus.
You're playing like 17, and
He
I
looks like a
have no idea.
17-year-old though.
Does he? But does he look 17 or does he look like movie 17? Because they're two different things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he would probably look more like movie 17 for
Like
sure.
I remember being even in high school, like watching a high school show, like whatever, and then getting to high school being like, these people look older than me for sure, but they don't look like fucking
They
that.
don't look that much older than me.
But then I watched like Degrassi. I'm like, these kids look like me.
Yeah.
Like Degrassi kids look like me.
Yeah.
That's all I've been doing is that.
Okay.
Toys, Saved by the Bell, Fresh Prince. Not Saved by the Bell,
Fair enough.
excuse me.
Yeah, I don't know if I talk about it. So I do have this list of manga that I have yet to read that I bought from Barnes and Noble last week. I actually don't think I talked about it because I think I bought them after the podcast.
Mm.
But I've been wanting to. I did get my third volume of Chainsaw Man, which I need to get into. And then I got this series that I've been wanting to check out because the art looks great. But I haven't got a chance to read it yet.
What's it called?
Hell's Paradise. Jigo Kuraku. I don't know. I can't. I butchered that.
Okay.
But it's great. The art looks great. I read like the first chapter and I was like, okay,
Cool.
you got your claws in there. I just got to sit down and actually read it now. But
Nice, man.
yeah.
Well, are you ready, Zach, to hit our final topic of the show?
This does take us to our main topic of the show, which is our second week of our. I think we officially just said that this is going to be a Vampire Hunter month.
Yeah.
But this takes us to our second week of our Vampire Hunter month, which starts off with. This is a banger, dude.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I forgot how much I liked this movie. It was shit. Is it like 2005? I think it's
2004.
2004, 2005. Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman, Kate Beckinsale, not playing an underworld vampire, which is a different change of pace from her. She basically plays the same character, but she's not a vampire.
Yeah.
Goddamn, dude, this is a fun movie.
Yeah. I don't know. This to me just it says a lot about you.
Okay.
More so than it is about me.
Okay.
That you forgot how good this movie was.
I hadn't
clearly.
watched, I feel like I haven't
clearly,
watched
you don't love Vampire Hunters the way that I love Vampire Hunters.
I like Vampire Hunters a lot, but I think the ones that I always go back to are I always go back to Blade, basically.
Yeah, this movie's awesome.
Dude, this movie's rad.
This movie, it's literally James
Bond.
Bond.
Enjoyed it. I just think I always forget about it as far as like movies that I could like rewatch, and it makes me especially sad because the guy who directed this, I can't remember his whole name, but I saw his name and after I watched the movie, I was like, I feel like I recognize like this direction from like something else before, and so I looked up the director, and I was like, oh yeah, he's in charge of like all of like the schlocky action movies from like the early 2000s that I love. Like he directed The Mummy, he directed The Mummy Returns.
Yeah.
I think he directed like The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which is not a good movie, but I gotta look it up again because I like saw him and I saw his filmography and I was like, oh, this guy directed like all of the movies that I like loved as a kid. Oh, he wrote G.I. Joe, which is like, I don't know, as a kid I find that movie enjoyable.
Sure.
He directed The Scorpion King, which I like a lot, even though I know it's bad. And then he also did Odd Thomas, which was the craziest shit.
Yeah.
Because we have a podcast episode about Odd Thomas, and I never knew it was the same guy who did like all those movies that I like from like the early 2000s, 90s.
I will say this, beyond the fact that this movie is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's still awesome no matter how it holds up, regardless of how the CG holds up.
Honestly, it doesn't look that bad to me.
No, it doesn't. But this movie, before we dive into other stuff within the actual movie itself, within the concept of Van Helsing, this particular version of the concept of Van Helsing, it was such a sadness to me that there were no sequels or TV shows because this thing sets up Mission Impossible James Bond era style of vampire. Like the fucking church has, the Vatican has a whole separate. Like literally, the beginning of the movie after he fights fucking Jekyll Hyde, he's walking through the Vatican as though it's a fucking James Bond scene where he's like,
Yeah.
here's my cue, here's my like that's basically what
Well, I
he's
mean,
doing.
his cue basically follows him around for the rest of the
Yes,
movie.
but like he's like showing him his new tech. I'm like, dude, this should have been a fucking
Well, the
series.
problem I find with that really is, I agree it should have had like a sequel or something like that. I think the problem with this movie is that you basically set up like what would have been like an overarching big bad or whatnot for like a series like that, and that's like, oh yeah, that's the villain in like your first movie. It's like, I don't know, where do you really go from Dracula? Like, who's a bigger threat in the supernatural world than like Dracula?
There's other demons, man.
I feel
Other
like he's the
fucking
big
spooks.
bad man.
He is, but other spooks.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, I don't know. I think the thing that I liked Hugh Jackman in it a lot. I think he's really, really great as the Van Helsing character. Um, and clearly they set up a lot of stuff in here that should have been explored later on. They talk about like Van Helsing's memories and stuff like that. They talk about how he was the one that killed Dracula. They set up this whole like left hand of God thing that like is like just barely mentioned and is not expanded upon at all. I feel like that could have been like its own separate like could have been its own separate movie trying to figure out like what it means to be like the left hand of God and like why he like lost his memories and like went away from this like path but like still got drawn towards to it because clearly he still is in that capacity and somehow is like working for the Vatican and like taking out all these like
Yeah,
folktale
these little
supernatural
spooks.
baddies.
These, yeah. So, sorry, I'm looking something up just to confirm
Mm-hmm.
this theory of mine.
Yeah.
So I know I'm right, but I'm just trying to make sure that I'm right.
Okay.
Okay, I'm right. Of course, I know I'm right. I'm just double checking.
Okay.
So I agree with what you're saying, but what it's a clear misstep because not here's misstep. Not you, but the Universal
Mm-hmm.
had this awesome action horror period
Yeah.
comedy drama monster movie that to me that succeeds.
I think it succeeds a
and
lot.
and a few years before this we have the same thing with the Mummy that
Yeah.
succeeds enough to have 3 movies.
Yeah.
So to me I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You could tell me we could have had a fucking Jack O'Connor or O'Connell
Van Helsing.
crosses Van. Now, sure, I don't know. I don't know time periods. I don't know. I don't know what time period both
Well,
movies
I
are in.
mean,
One's
as
Victorian,
far as I'm
obviously.
concerned, time periods don't matter because clearly Hugh Jackman's Van Helsing has been alive for like
Yeah,
400 years or some fucking bullshit. Like he's lived
werewolf.
as long as a vampire.
Yeah,
So clearly, time periods don't really matter that much. You could just have him go wherever.
but like, you could. This could have been the start of the fucking Universal Dark Universe.
I think that's the real problem is that this kind of stuff came out before
Oh yeah,
the theory of extended universes in movies became like an actual physical idea, which really it's
absolutely.
not that long before. This is only like a couple of years before Iron Man.
5 years.
Yeah, it's not that long,
No, it's
but
definitely not. But
it was too
this
long.
movie is so awesome. It's such a rad action movie and rad vampire movie. Like they
Yeah,
don't depict the vampires in shit ways. Like they're still brutal
yeah,
vampires, and they still depict them as though they're like terrifying to humans.
yeah.
And you know, Van Helsing still struggles against the everyday spooky monster.
I mean, he
You
gets
know,
almost killed by Mr. Hyde.
yeah, right. That's the opening scene. That's a badass
Yeah,
opening scene, by the way.
great
What a
opening scene.
badass opening scene that is. The fucking dude, I will remember forever those fucking like pump automated chainsaw blade things.
Dude, those things are
I
so dope.
remember that scene clear as day forever.
Yeah,
It's been how many years has it been since 2004?
13.
Hey Siri, what's 21 minus? Oh, never mind. I don't know how to do what.
I think it's 13. No, 17. 17 years.
Clearly, I didn't go to college for math.
Yeah, because 21 minus
17
4,
years. It's been
17.
almost 20 years since that movie came out, and I remember that scene to the T.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've seen the movie so damn much. I also, on the flip side, I remember fucking Kate Beckinsale. And that fucking thingy-majiggy and the fucking rope thing, clear as day. Her fucking little, what's it called?
Corset?
Corset thing. I remember that shit. Clear as day, all day, every day. And that wolf hunting scene, 150%.
That wolf hunting scene is great, yeah.
And then
Except
make
for her in it, because I don't know. There's something about it's not her specifically. It's like the way they write her character, where she's like, it seems like she's like bumbling and like not doing what she's supposed to be doing. But they have that scene where she's like supposed to get tripped up by like the trap that comes up. But then she does
yeah.
like a perfect
Dude,
flip and like lands on her feet, and I'm like, I don't know. It's very strange.
one
She's like
year,
fucking up but not fucking up at the same time. It's very strange to like see on screen.
1 year before this movie came out, fucking Underworld came out.
Oh, so it's like around the same time. Damn.
2003 Underworld, 2004 Van Helsing.
That's strange that she's in. Well, I guess it's not that strange because she's really only been in Van Helsing or in Underworld movies since. But
I'm just gonna say this also too to add to this. Underworld is fucking rad.
I like Underworld a lot.
Underworld is also rad, and I remember being a kid all those 17 years ago, being like, I think she's attractive, because
She's attractive.
I'm a young buck. I'm like, I know that she is, but do I like the fucking 2000s Una? I call it the Una haircut, where she has the fucking like boop, like that little shit right there. That's the
Mm.
shit from Underworld, right? Or does she has the long curly locks and Van Helsing?
I like her hair in this movie a lot.
But also, I like that she's super tough in Underworld.
She's
Because
tough in this. She's
she
tough.
is, but she ain't the fucking.
She kills a vampire.
She's a fucking death dealer.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, she's not as badass as being like
Yeah.
an actual vampire. However,
Also, Underworld, the opening of Underworld. Also, I remember the opening also to the T,
I can't
where
remember
she's
the
like,
opening of
she is when
Underworld.
she's doing the fucking narration, like the little like
The only scene
talking.
I can remember from Underworld is I think in Underworld 2 when they're fighting in the cave and there's a helicopter that goes through, and then the werewolf throws the old man into the helicopter. That's all I can remember.
Well, the opening to Underworld 1, it's almost as cool, and by almost I mean not even close. But
Blade.
it's almost as cool as the opening to Blade.
Okay.
Where she's doing her narration and it's like raining because it has to be, and then she's like, "It's a war between us and them," or something, and we have to until there's none of them left, or some shit like that. And then she's on top of a fucking like church, and she jumps off, and then like
Mhm.
lands like perfectly. And I'm like, dude, fucking sick.
It's pretty dope, man.
Also, on a related note to that, I my girlfriend's never seen Blade, so I wanted to show her. I showed her the opening scene to Blade,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "Fucking so fucking badass, bro, so badass." And then I was like, "You know who's in the third one?" And she goes, "Who?" I go, "Your favorite guy." And I played a trailer
Ryan
for it, and
Reynolds.
she's like, "What the fuck is he doing in this movie?" I go, "I don't know, a
Being a
paycheck."
terrible actor in that movie. He's not good in that movie.
Yeah, he's not good in any movie.
That's not true.
What movie is he good in?
He's he's a Deadpool.
Yeah, okay, exactly.
He's Deadpool too.
Yeah, no.
And
So this movie, Van Helsing, the story, it's action movie, vampire movie.
it serves what it needs to serve.
It moves from set piece to set piece, which I'm fine with.
It really doesn't. I really don't feel like it. It doesn't go into the typical action movie trope that there's not really like. There's not a specific like scene that like drags out to really explain what's going on.
Yeah.
I think it keeps a pretty good pace. It's got good momentum going through it. It really doesn't like stay too long in any one thing. I think the scene that probably drags out the most is when they first get to Kate Beckinsale's castle.
Yeah.
They spend a little too long in there, but they're at least transitioning between different time periods. So there's at least some like time movement. Even if there's not necessarily like plot progression, there's at least time progression.
There's shit
So
happening.
it doesn't feel like you're stagnant.
Yeah. I really wish though that we how'd you feel about the big reveal though about him?
Which one?
All of them.
That he's a werewolf, or
Yeah.
that
Did
he's
you
like
care about
less
that?
than a goblin?
Like when you were a kid, did you care about that? Does that bummer to you?
That he was a werewolf?
Yeah.
I didn't even understand it when I was a kid.
Yeah. That whole revelation, like as a kid, you're like, the fuck is going on?
And then he just turns to a werewolf. I was
Yeah,
like,
you're like,
okay, cool.
okay,
He's
I
gonna
guess.
kill like Dracula. He's gonna be a werewolf. That's fucking dope.
okay. I
But
gotcha.
also the whole point of it makes no sense because the whole thing about werewolves is that they're like subservient to Dracula.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they show her brother and like, and then they have that line where like, oh yeah, it's only at like the 12th stroke of midnight, but it's like that hasn't even happened, but her brother is still like
Yeah.
at the beck and call of Dracula. But then Hugh Jackman turns into a werewolf. He's like, fuck you, I don't give a fuck,
I'm the
I'm gonna
alpha.
kill you.
I'm
Yeah.
alpha. I I really
So
hated the.
it's weird. I don't
I
know.
didn't like the werewolf thing as a kid, and even as an adult, I'm like, I wish you were just a fucking cool dude, man.
Yeah, it feels weird that they like shoehorn that in because it's
Yeah,
really shoehorned in because
it
there's
is.
nothing like mythology that says that a werewolf has to kill Dracula.
No.
They just like they decided that they wanted to have a werewolf fight versus Dracula,
Yeah,
and so they put this
they're
in that
they're
they're
in a
like, okay,
pitch
only a
room.
werewolf can kill
Yeah,
Dracula.
they're in a pitch room. They're like, dude, what sounds sick?
Dude, you know what's gonna be sick when a werewolf fights
Or
Dracula.
they were like,
But
dude,
wait, but there's obviously all this mythology that like Dracula can get killed by all these other ways. Nah,
nah,
say none of those ways count. Say it
yeah.
can only be by a werewolf.
Or they're like, yo, Underworld made a ton of money last year, so we had to have vampire
We
werewolf
have
fight.
to have a werewolf.
Because the vampire werewolf stuff in Underworld is fucking sick. Even though the
It's
werewolves look
good.
fucking stupid, they look fucking it's awesome. It's super B movie quality. I love it.
Yeah.
And in this movie, it makes me so sad because they really could have done like I would love to have seen like a series of like it's why I loved Penny Dreadful so much. Like
Hmm.
you could do a full season of just fucking like not even a Penny Dreadful style show, which is like no long running story. You could do a episodic monster of the week. Who is Van Helsing hunting this time? I would
Isn't
fucking
that
watch the
basically
shit out of that.
supernatural?
Yes, but no Victorian era. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like what cowboy fucking western hat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think they have that. I feel like they have like a Van Helsing
There's
series.
a sci-fi show about
And there's like
like
a
a girl.
Winona Earp series that is basically her being Van Helsing, where she's like fighting
Yeah,
demons.
there's a vampire. There's a sci-fi show like Winona Earp, and there's also a Van Helsing show. Yeah,
Yeah.
both ladies,
Yeah.
but they're not. They're both modern day,
Mm.
I believe.
Okay.
Well,
Mm.
Winona Earp is for sure modern day. I'm pretty sure so is the Van
Okay.
Helsing show.
Mm.
Um, and the Winona Earp show I've never seen.
Yeah, I'd like to have a show that's like around this, but like is more steampunky. I feel like that
Basically,
would
I
be.
want Castlevania live action. That's basically
Yeah.
what I want.
I mean, that was basically what this was Castlevania live
Yes,
action.
because the Castlevania animated show I fucking hate, and we've been through this before.
I like the first season, but that
First
second
season,
season was
there's
not good.
no action in any of the seasons. It's Castlevania. It should have all action all the fucking time. It's
Yeah.
Castlevania. Literally, the point of Castlevania is this: walk to the side of the screen, kill. That's Castlevania. This show is yap 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 bookshelf library yap 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 yap
I
yap.
mean, that's simply like the low point of season one is when they're stuck in a library for 3 of the 6
Yeah.
episodes. So.
Do you hold on? Speaking of Dracula, do you think we're gonna get another season of that Stephen Moffat vampire Dracula show that we talked
No,
about?
I mean they completed the story with that.
You think they're gonna bring it back and do something else?
Nah.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that when it aired, but like, I don't know. It's not my favorite interpretation of Dracula.
You know who is my favorite interpretation of
Honestly,
Dracula?
my favorite shit of that is like the last episode when they're like in modern day, but then that ending is so like fucking stupid that it like
Who's your
detracted
favorite
all the
Dracula besides
what?
Keanu Reeves? Who's your favorite Dracula besides Keanu Reeves?
You mean besides the Keanu Reeves Dracula movie?
Yeah, who's your favorite Dracula?
Uh, hmm. Fuck, dude, I gotta think of all the Draculas. I'm trying to think.
It's not the guy
I mean,
from
it's not
Prison
Blade
Break.
Dracula. That Dracula's
It's not the
terrible.
guy from Prison Break.
It's not the guy from Prison Break. What Dracula was he?
He's in Blade.
That's the Blade Dracula?
Yeah, he's from Prison Break,
He's
right?
so much more yoked in that movie than
Yeah,
I've ever seen
he's
him in
the older
anything else.
brother. He's the older brother from Prison Break. Yeah.
Um,
How good
no,
was that
not
show
him.
in the
Not
first
that
season, dude?
Dracula.
By the way,
Not Underworld Dracula. Not that one either.
do they show Dracula at Underworld, or they just show a bunch of elders?
I think it's in like one of the later.
One of the later
I
movies.
thought it was in like one of the later Underworld movies that like Dracula shows
Okay,
up.
okay, like the OG.
I think so. Um,
Christopher Lee's is really good.
Christopher Lee's is not bad. Um, I mean, it's like Gary Oldman is like, I mean, he's one of the tops, dude.
Which one's he in?
Um, he was the Keanu Reeves Dracula.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is that Dracula 2000?
No, that's just Dracula.
That's just Dracula. Who's
That's like
Dracula?
Bram
What's
Stoker's
Dracula
Dracula.
2000? Which one is that one?
Dracula 2000 was the one with Omar Epps, I think, or the guy from House. I can't remember who was in that one.
Okay.
He plays like Van Helsing in that
And
one.
Keanu is Keanu Helsing? Or is
No,
he?
Keanu is the Bram Stoker. He's the nobleman that gets killed.
Okay.
Like what happened in the Stephen
Yeah,
Moffat
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. No, he plays.
Basically, Keanu Reeves is like that guy who just gets killed.
What's his name again? Harker.
I think so.
Harker.
Dracula movies. Hold on. Let's see here. I mean, it's not Leslie Nielsen. Let's get that up. Let's get that off. Bela Lugosi and
Yeah, no, it's fine. He's whatever. People get so mad about that too. People be so pissed off about that. He's the best.
Oh, well, he's not really Dracula though.
Who?
They brought up like Fright Night, and I was like, he's not really Dracula.
He's not Dracula.
He's just a vampire.
Yeah, he's just a vampire.
I can't think of a bunch of Dracula movies like off the top of my head.
Then it's settled.
Has there really not been that many movies that have Dracula in them?
There's a ton, I bet.
I feel like there's a bunch.
Okay, that's fine. It's settled. It's the guy from Prison Break. He's the one. He's the winner.
It's not the guy from Prison Break.
It has to be. We can't pick one.
I mean, if you're gonna force my hand by saying that it's not, oh, is that Wes Craven that did Dracula 2000? Oh,
Was it really him?
I think so.
Okay.
I
get that one, and Keanu's mixed up all the time.
honestly, well, Dracula Untold was not a good movie.
Who plays Dracula in that?
That was Luke Evans.
Luke Evans.
Which, I mean, he's not a bad Dracula, but like that movie's not good.
So that one is also related to Frankenstein. Yes, Man. What's it called again? I Frankenstein.
No, that was technically supposed to be the kickoff for the Universal Dark universe. Like he was supposed to be Dracula in that universe.
And the Mummy.
And with the Mummy.
Yeah.
And then that was also the one where like Javier Bardem was supposed to be Frankenstein, I think.
Wolfman, I thought.
Was he? Somebody was supposed to be Frankenstein.
Because Del Toro was Wolfman before, right? That was a good movie.
Yeah, Benicio del Toro was before.
That was a good Wolfman.
Yeah, he was like the best Wolfman.
Who's your favorite Universal monster?
It'd probably be Wolfman.
Black Lagoon for me.
Black Lagoon's not bad. I've always had a soft spot for Wolfman.
Wolfman's cool.
I like werewolves.
Who's the lamest and why is it Invisible Dude?
It's definitely Invisible Dude, 100%.
They should just change it. Just make it Hollow Man.
There's nothing terrifying about it.
Just make him Hollow Man.
I don't care what the fuck that whatever what was it? It was not an A20, not an A24. Oh my god, Blumhouse, the Blumhouse Invisible Man, tried to make him like an intimidating. I was like, he's just invisible. Just kick him in the balls.
Yeah.
It's not like there's anything like impervious about it.
Just wear heat goggles.
Just wear heat goggles. Find like heat goggles. Just like cut your hand and just like have blood spill over the place. Like
put glass on the floor.
Something. It's not that hard to find an invisible man, despite what people think. It's not that hard.
It's not. I really want to rewatch the original batch of Universal movies.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done it. I think I've done it once.
I've never watched the original ones.
I've watched all the mainline ones, like the first ones, once, and maybe Bride once. I've seen the Hammer Dracula stuff of Christopher Lee multiple times. Not all of them, but like the first 2 or 3. And that's it. I don't really watch. I haven't really seen many Hammer films. That's really it because I don't really care about. I like the Universal monsters because they're not scary. You know what I mean? Like, they're not scary, so I can watch them and be like, "Oh, this is cool."
They're not super terrifying.
They're not scary, so I can watch them, and they're classic-y, right? Now we start doing some new shit with them. Eat dicks, fuck off. I ain't touching that shit. You know what I mean? Like if they're like, we're making. I would watch a regular Dracula movie if it was scary because it's Dracula. But I won't. I
I feel
won't.
like a Frankenstein movie could be good. Frankenstein's also up there. He's like with the Wolfman for me. I feel like Frankenstein. There's a lot of interesting
Oh,
stuff that you can do with
Zach,
him.
you are such a plebe, bro. His name is not Frankenstein.
I'm sorry, Frankenstein's monster.
Frankenstein's monster, bro.
I'm sorry.
There's a new
Look, they
NECA
call it the
fig.
Frankenstein in the fucking movie. If they
Yeah,
want to be correct, they should call it Frankenstein's monster. The movie.
I think of Frankensteiner, the
Ooh, Frankensteiner's
finishing move from
hell
the
yeah.
yeah from Scott Steiner.
Fucking reverse tombstone. Let's
I
go.
there's a new NECA fig on pre-order right now, which is a black and white Universal classic Frankenstein monster.
Hmm.
I thought about pre-ordering it. Then I was like, why would I fucking do that?
Also, that was sad in this movie, dude, that Frankenstein just fucking died in like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I was
right.
like, God damn, dude. That whole opening scene was great though, with like the black and white and shit
Yeah,
like that. I was like, oh, this looks really, really solid.
yeah. I still think the Jackal Hyde sign is better.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like an introduction to Van Helsing, like that's the
Yeah,
best stuff. But an introduction to like
monsters
this
and shit.
like new Universal monster universe that they're got going on, I like the black and white.
We need a remake of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, and do it look good. Yeah, that would be nice.
I haven't seen the first one, honestly.
It's not good.
I've seen like the first maybe
I
hour,
mean, it's
no,
like
10 hour, first like
I won't
half
say that
hour.
'cause I enjoyed it as a kid, but it's like the Mummy is schlock like action movie. This is like a schlock action movie like, and you do the fucking Spinal Tap, or you just turn the dial up to like fucking 20 on the.
Have you seen Spinal Tap?
I haven't, but I know the meme.
Okay, no, I know you're seeing. I know you've seen the scene, obviously,
Yeah,
but I asked you that question because you just happened to bring it up because
yeah.
I watched Spinal Tap again this week,
Did you?
and that movie fucking kills me. All that guy's movies, I think it's Christopher Guest.
Hmm.
That one, Welcome to Guffman, Best in Show,
Yeah.
and his last one was Mascots. I haven't seen that one, but
Mm.
Spinal Tap, as someone who loves metal and like rock and roll and like hair metal and shit, like
Yeah.
that scene in particular you're talking about fucking kills me. It literally it makes me chuckle so much. The whole interaction with like Rob Reiner and like being like, so we'll just make 10 the loudest. Well, these go to 11. Fucking dude, fucking kills me, bro. Fucking kills me. Um,
Uh,
any final thoughts on Van Helsing 2004?
guys, if you haven't seen Van Helsing, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Watch Van Helsing. It's great. It's a fun movie. It's great for just, that's a date night movie. You tell you what, you want to get, having a good time with your significant other, pop on Van Helsing.
Yeah.
Girls love Hugh Jackman. They'll be engrossed with him the whole time. Be a great time.
Yeah, it's true, man.
Dylan.
And this is long-haired Hugh Jackman, so ladies love long hair.
Yeah, if the girls like Hugh Jackman, the dudes like Kate Beckinsale, it's someone for everybody. So hey,
It's got a little bit for everybody.
yeah, my final score for this movie is watch it. It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
So
It's a watch it out of 10.
to watch it out of 10. That's what my one to watch it. It's a watch it. So,
Yeah.
thanks guys for listening. Thanks for watching. See you back next week with more License to View.
Yes. See you guys.